just for us the investment in the super hubs. We are also automating the rest of our infrastructure as well, which is great. You know, we go everywhere every day. And for instance, on parcels, it's only around about 12 months ago when we were automating around about 30% of our parcel deliveries. We're already approaching, even though we're a little over 12 months down the line, we're approaching nearly double that. And we've said that by the end of this year, we want it to be 70%. And by the end of next fiscal year, we should be up at that 90%. Of course, we've been along this journey with letters. We were highly automated for letters. So we're taking all of those learnings that the team built there and putting it into parcels so we can compete. So what I would say is that based on what we see, we're very, very happy that we've got Warrington tomorrow, the Midlands super hub next year, and then also taking our current infrastructure and making that fit for purpose for the future as well.
What's been happening to parcel volumes since the lockdown restrictions eased? Have they gone in the way you expected them to?
Well, I mean, we can all see that, you know, now that we are coming out of the pandemic, things have changed. But what I would say for us as a business, we've seen some real key dynamics. The first thing we've seen is that during the pandemic, our letter volumes are down 18%. And our parcel volumes are up over 30-odd%. So I think for us as an organisation, you know, we used to be a letters business. We are definitely now a parcels business that delivers letters. And if you take letters as a for instance, back in 2004, 2005, there were 20 billion letters that were sent every year. We're now down around about the 8 billion mark. So I think that trend is clear. And of course, with parcels, it's taken a massive step forward. And more than half of our revenue is now parcels. And what we still see, even though we understand that, you know, we are now in post-pandemic times, what we still see is that the share of the market, the retail market with online, is still a significantly higher proportion for online now than what it was pre-pandemic.
You've talked about Sunday deliveries for parcels. Do you see that becoming a permanent part of the landscape?
Oh, absolutely. I think, you know, again, I was with the team actually in Leatherhead in Surrey the other Sunday and actually the Sunday before having a look at that operation. You know, we've only just started to scratch the surface on that one. And what our research has told us is that a Sunday is going to be worth at least half a weekday, which is around about 10 times more than we're currently doing. We just see that as a great potential. And if you have a look at high street retail, Sunday has always been a very, very, very strong day, but with online retail, less so. So we really see massive potential there. And, you know, when we speak to our retailers, you know, they're very, very interested in that extra day with us. And that when we're on the doorstep with the consumer, you know, they welcome us on a Sunday, just like they welcome us Monday to Saturday. They're always happy to see our great team on the doorstep.
Are you going to be able to take your unions with you on this journey? I mean, you've been threatened recently with the possibility of strike action. I think you've got a 5.5% pay offer on the table and the union wants more.
Yeah, well, Ian, what I would say is that the first thing I would say is that our team definitely deserve a pay increase. I think we all recognise what's around us in terms of the cost of living crisis. You know, none of us are immune to that. My team is not immune to that as well. And in fact, actually today, we did actually make an exceptional change in what we would normally do, because today we actually announced to our team that we would be giving them a 2% unconditional pay increase that will be in their July salary. You know, we have been speaking with the CWU over pay for 2 months. You know, that discussion has now exhausted, which is why we've done what we've done today. But next week, you know, we will be back in the room with the CWU talking about the change. And let's just be clear on this. What we put on the table was 5.5% pay increase. The 2% unconditional we've now paid. And we would really love to sit down and discuss in a very positive way the changes that are required so that we can compete in the market. And it's worth noting as well that part of that proposal within that 5.5% is a 2% above and beyond bonus scheme for our frontline team, so that as the business improves, they can enjoy the benefits of that improvement.
Now, you've recently warned that you may have to raise prices to cover your costs. I mean, a first-class stamp now costs 95 pence. Are you covering your costs at that price?
Well, what I would say is, you know, we don't We don't split out sort of our costings between our business. But what I would say is we did make those price increases earlier on in the year. And I get asked quite often, which is, you know, will you look at prices again? I think we have to be honest with what's around us. You know, I would say that we will keep it under review, and we'll keep reviewing what we have to do on stamps and also on parcels. You know, we put a parcels increase earlier on in the year around about 4% plus some fuel surcharging. And I think as the year progresses, we're just going to have to keep an eye on what happens in the market. But of course, you know, we also recognize that our retailers have to compete, you know, and we need to make sure that whatever we do with pricing is also going to make sure that they can compete in the market as well, so we can grow this market together.
All right, Simon Thompson, I'm afraid we have to leave it there. Appreciate you joining me today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you.
Well, we're just going to break into the business news now and hop over to Brussels, where the Vice President of the European Commission, Maros Sefcovic, is speaking following news that the EU is taking legal action against the UK for its plan to override parts of the Brexit deal on Northern Ireland. Let's just listen in.
Good morning. On Monday, the UK government tabled legislation confirming its intention to unilaterally break international law. More precisely, to break an agreement that protects peace and stability in Northern Ireland, an agreement that we reached together only 2 years ago. Let there be no doubt. There is no legal nor political justification whatsoever for unilaterally changing an international agreement. Opening the door to unilaterally changing an international agreement is a breach of international law as well. So let's call a spade a spade. This is illegal. The UK bill is extremely damaging to mutual trust and respect between the EU and the UK. It has created deep uncertainty and casts a shadow over our overall cooperation. All at a time when respect for international agreements has never been more important. That is why the Commission has today decided to take legal action against the United Kingdom for not complying with significant parts of the Protocol on Ireland, Northern Ireland. We have been withholding this legal action over the last year because we wanted to create a constructive atmosphere to find solutions. The UK government's decision has left us with no choice but to act. First, we are proceeding a step further with the infringement process we launched in March 2021 regarding, for instance, the movement of agri-food. If the UK doesn't reply within 2 months, we may take them to the Court of Justice. Second, we are launching 2 new infringements against the UK. One for failing to carry out the necessary controls at the border control posts in Northern Ireland by ensuring adequate staffing and infrastructure. And one for failing to provide the EU with essential trade statistics data to enable the EU to protect its single market. Ladies and gentlemen, the protocol was the solution agreed with the UK government to protect the Good Friday Belfast Agreement in all its dimensions, avoid a hard border on the island of Ireland, and protect the integrity of the EU's single market. We know that there are some practical difficulties in implementing it. We have said so openly. That is why my team and I had been engaging extensively with all stakeholders on the ground, resulting in a set of solutions put forward in October, showing genuine and unprecedented flexibility. For example, our proposals would reduce sanitary and phytosanitary checks and controls by more than 80%. They would cut customs paperwork in half, create an express lane for goods moving from Great Britain to Northern Ireland, simplify certification, a single 3-page document for a whole lorry full of different goods. And they would allow even the movement of certain goods that would otherwise be restricted, such as chilled meat, like sausages. This is a solid offer, making a tangible difference on the ground. Today, we have fleshed out these proposals, proving they can work and they can work fast. We have even published the draft certificates that businesses would need to fill out, showing just how simple and easy they are to fill in. And I would like to show it to you. These are the 3 pages which need to be filled per lorry or once per month. Not 300, not 33. This is how simple it is, and this is what we can do if we work well together. Because our proposals are all about simplification and therefore in stark contrast with, for instance, a dual regulatory regime proposed by the UK. A dual set of rules, EU and UK, would lead to a mountain of paperwork and bureaucracy enough to bury a small business in Northern Ireland that wants to profit from access to both the UK's internal and the EU's single market at once. So once again, permanent solutions and simple operations of the protocol proposed by the EU versus constant uncertainty with UK ministers having an open hand to change the rules on a whim. We want Northern Ireland to embrace all benefits of this unique position, because our commitment to the people of Northern Ireland is unshakable. Despite today's legal action, our door remains open to dialogue. We want to discuss these solutions with the UK government. Given that the UK hasn't sat down at the table with us since February, I think it's a high time to show some political will to find joint solutions. The UK has stated that for us to talk, the EU must be willing to change the protocol. On the contrary, we have always said that our package of proposals has never been a take it or leave it offer. It can evolve, but it is not an unconditional offer. There must be safeguards included that protect the single market, because the risks for our market are real, not theoretical. And the conditions which allow Northern Ireland to access the EU single market for goods are not for the UK to change. It's simply legally and politically inconceivable that the UK government decides unilaterally what kind of goods can enter our single market. This is not the path for the two partners standing shoulder to shoulder when facing global challenges, and that this should be forged like that. I'm convinced that with political will, we can find solutions for people and businesses in Northern Ireland. But this must be done jointly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice President. We'll now take a few questions. Just to let you know, first of all, we have published press material online, as well as the 2 position papers which the Vice President referred to, including the document that he showed. So you'll find all of that online. Adam, please, first.
Adam Parsons from Sky News. Mr. Šefčovič, there are lots of people here in Brussels who think that the European Commission is being played by the British government for its own domestic concerns. Do you have trust in the good faith of Boris Johnson and Liz Truss? And if not, were you tempted to go harder and further with the legal proceedings that you've taken against the British government, or do you still have those options up your sleeve?
Thank you very much for that question. Of course, I think our today's action, the fact that we have to start legal proceedings and legal action against our ally, against our partner in these very difficult times where we face together the global challenges is pretty telling what the level of trust we have. At the same time, we are fully aware of the current circumstances in the world, in Europe and in Northern Ireland, and therefore for us the peace on the island and our commitment to the people of Northern Ireland have, I would say, overriding principle in how we approach these negotiations. Therefore, we decided that our response should be measured, should be proportionate, and we are offering not only legal action here today, but we've been fleshing out what concretely we could do. I was just showing you 3 pages of the certificate, 3 pages. And I can also tell you that what we are fleshing out in our today's proposals exactly responds to the queries, to the questions, to the propositions I heard when I personally visited Northern Ireland, and what I heard since then, because I'm in regular contact with the business community, with civic society, and with the political leaders in Northern Ireland. What they want us to focus on is East-West trade, reduce administrative burden, make the operation of the protocol as smooth as possible, and this is exactly what we are doing. And what we are offering is joint solution, which would offer stability, which would offer legal certainty, which would offer legal clarity. And when you are talking to the business operators and potential investors, what you hear from them, for us it's very important to know if we are going to invest, are we going to produce for 5 million, 50 million, or 500 million? And that has, I would say, very important implications. We offered and promised to the people of Northern Ireland to have the best of both worlds. And this is what we want to offer them. What we are now getting in form of this draft bill would be the monstrous mountain of paperwork which the business operators in the Northern Ireland will have to fill up. I mean, go and ask, I don't know, the milk producers in Northern Ireland, how he or she can produce the milk, one sort for EU, another one for the UK, or any kind of manufacturer who wants to benefit from the access to both markets of the UK and the EU. Should he have 2 different production lines? So therefore, what I'm saying here is, let's focus on practicalities. Let's focus on how to make the operation of the protocol smooth, and this is what we are going to do. Therefore, our response today is measured. Therefore, it's proportionate, and that's the reason why we also are fleshing out that what we are putting on the table, it's really oven ready. If we have a positive reaction from the UK side, political will and engagement, this can be done in no time. As we did it with the medicines, we demonstrated we can sort out a very difficult issue within a very short period of time. And what we are offering here are ready-made recipes how we can solve the problems of SPS checks, problems of customs procedures. And as I said, we always been ready to discuss other issues as well, but there was radio silence from the UK side since February.
That was Vice President of the European Commission, Maroš Šefčovič, there, letting out his reaction to what the UK government announced earlier this week. No immediate announcement there of legal action against the UK. That looks like it could be a couple of months away, according to Mr Šefčovič. There will no doubt have more on this story throughout the morning here on Sky News. But let me tell you about some of the other business news that's around this morning now. And the European Central Bank's interest rate setting governing council is to hold an unscheduled meeting today. The ECB said the meeting had been called to discuss the recent sell-off in government bonds, which has raised concerns about how weaker Eurozone economies will be able to cope with higher borrowing costs. Well, Eurozone government bonds have sold off since the ECB promised a series of interest rate hikes only last week, sending implied borrowing costs for heavily indebted Eurozone members, such as Italy and Spain, to 8-year highs. The owner of Premier Inn said today that the budget hotel chain was trading well ahead of pre-COVID levels in the UK. Whitbread said that from 4th of March to the 2nd of June, its total UK accommodation sales were up 235% on a year ago and up 31% on the same period before the pandemic. But the company, which also owns the Beefeater and Brewers Fayre pub restaurant businesses, said its UK food and drink sales were still down by 4.3% on pre-pandemic trading. And shares of WH Smith rose by more than 7.5% this morning after the retailer said this year's results would be at the top end of City expectations. Well, the company, which also owns the online greetings card retailer Funky Pigeon, said that in the 15 weeks to last Saturday, its sales were more than double those in the same period a year ago. That reflected a 123% jump in sales at its stores at airports and railway stations as travel resumed following the lifting of COVID restrictions. Its high street sales, though, were also up by some 79% year on year, with its Platinum Jubilee ranges selling well. Now, the so-called blue economy is attracting growing interest from investors. It's defined by the World Bank as the sustainable use of ocean resources for economic growth, improved livelihoods and jobs, while preserving the health of the ocean ecosystem. Well, among those seeking to do more in the sector is Ocean 14 Capital, a private equity impact fund, which has just unveiled its first investment. It's in Aqua, a leader in shrimp genetics. Well, joining me now is Chris Gorrell-Barnes. He is co-founder of Ocean 14 Capital. Chris, welcome to you. What did you like about this particular business?
Good morning. It's just to touch on the Brexit thing. I think that's a big problem, but solving the crisis in the ocean is a bigger problem. And what we like very much about this particular deal, Aqua, is the ability to transform the shrimp industry. It's had a bad rap because it hasn't been very sustainable and it hasn't been very efficient. And this company is a technology and genetics company that will enable the industry, which is growing very quickly up to about $56 billion as predicted by 2028, to be much more efficient, use much less waste, much less water, and really intensify and make the industry a much more sustainable, efficient way of creating this very important protein for a growing population.
How many businesses are you looking to back in total?
Yeah. So Ocean 14 Capital is looking to really capitalize on the shift towards protecting and driving a sustainable blue economy. The ocean is in trouble, and if we are to solve the ocean crisis, which is then solving the climate crisis, we need to ensure that we have a sustainable blue economy. Ocean 14 Capital is going to invest in between 20 and 25 companies, and we focus on companies that are existing in the blue economy, ones that we can utilize new technologies, new innovations, and help these businesses be more impactful, more sustainable, actually be more economically beneficial, and make more money out of them.
Now, you were looking to raise 150 million euros from investors at the outset. How close are you to achieving that?
We've had a very successful first close of the fund. We raised 80 million from some fantastic investors. The European Investment Fund backed us with 35 million euros. And now we've made our first two investments. So we invested in Aqua. We've also invested in a company called Ion, which is transforming the plastic industry. Obviously, plastic is a big problem for the ocean. There's a lot of interest from consumers. Obviously, Sky have done a great deal of work there in the plastics crisis. And this is a company that's going to enable large-scale industry to scale the plastics problem and to stop plastics entering the ocean by having a circular economy, but also at the same time taking plastics out of the ocean. The fund will close at the end of the year, and there's great interest in investors in the fund now that we've done these two investments.
It's often said that the blue economy is underinvested. Do you agree with that? And if so, why is that the case?
Yeah, it's a very good question, Ian. If you look at the SDGs, there's 17 goals now, and there's a lot of focus on actually how can we invest in, the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, how can we invest in those goals to effectively save the world and actually make good returns for investors. And number 14, which is why we're Ocean 14 Capital, is the least invested in, but it is arguably the most important because the ocean is 71% of the planet. It's a huge economy. It's $3 trillion economy. It employs hundreds of millions of people. It feeds the world, it provides the oxygen we breathe, it absorbs the carbon. We can't solve the climate crisis without having a healthy ocean. And it has been overlooked by investors because it's very difficult, they don't understand it. So that's Ocean 14 Capital here, is to bring in the necessary capital to transform the blue economy, to make it sustainable, to make it regenerative, so that actually we can protect and restore the ocean to health and make sure that this economy can prosper and be very sustainable.
All right, Chris, we have to leave it there. It's been good talking to you today. I hope we'll see you again in future.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, when the country went into lockdown back at the beginning of 2020, there was a surge in book sales as people renewed their interest in hobbies. And that resurgence in reading appears to be permanent, with the book publisher Bloomsbury reporting a 40% rise in full-year pre-tax profits this morning to a record £26.7 million. Best-selling titles during the year included Crescent City, House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas and Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. Well, joining me now is Nigel Newton, the co-founder and chief executive of Bloomsbury Publishing. Nigel, welcome to you. No doubt in your mind, then, this is permanently entrenched now, this reading habit.
Well, that's what the crystal ball is saying to us, because society has largely reopened, and the high sales that descended on the industry in the first and subsequent lockdowns are powering on. So my theory is that people reassessed what was important in their lives during lockdown, and they decided not only that reading was one of those things, it was a great form of escape and entertainment and inspiration, but also all their many hobbies and personal interests, from cooking to history to you name it, would be fueled by books.
Sendwave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use Sendwave? Sendwave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about Sendwave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clemens, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Tune in to On Point here on Star Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Check me out.
He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the darkness. The whole of darkness.
So what did that?
Myself and the world will adjust. And 2019.
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on The CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Star Radio.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit.
Hi there, this is CJ Buckman, your life coach. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Star Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
Body is your man. Bekutu, show them you got the cocoa set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Star Radio. Don't go nowhere. UK, London. We they call them London for home. For here, we they call them London. And that's how you know. Just have fun and stay blessed.
The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Star Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Hey there, this is Archie.
Star Radio Morning Show. Enlighten your day with Star Radio.
Welcome.
You never change. You're still the same. Yes, yesterday, today, and ever. You're not a man that you should lie before. Yes, you're the and amen forever. Would seem harder on such radar. Yes, would seem harder. Oh my, would seem harder on such radar. Yes, would seem harder. You never change.
Okay, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. Salute each and every one of you and welcome you to the the Wednesday edition of the morning show. My apologies. Today is the 15th day of June, the year 2022, with the time now 10:39 from the hearts of London. Of course, the Wednesday edition of the morning show. Let me say good morning to my team this morning, Mr. Olayomi Koiki and Mr. Francis Gaye, my able producer.
Yes, yesterday, today.
I salute each and every one of you. But a special good morning. Greetings goes to Michael Oawe. He says good morning, Koiki. And Shamsuddin Oladipupo. Yes, Yoruba Nation, we want Yoruba Nation. We want Yoruba Nation now. Okay. Well, like they've done, you can join us on the Facebook or the YouTube, whichever is appropriate. Put your comments or anything there. I promise you I'm going to read that. But let me say good morning to our listeners across the globe. Those of you in Europe, those of you in America or the Americas, those of you in Asia and Australia, our wonderful listeners on the African continent as well. Salute each and every one of you. And I welcome you all to the Wednesday edition of the morning show. Now, if it's the first time of tuning in to listen to us or watch us on Wednesday, this is how the program goes. I'll bring you the quote for the day, the weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel updates. Taking you through those pages, and then we'll move on to some of the stories making the rounds across the globe, known as Global Trotted. Then after that, at 11 o'clock, we're having Olayomi Koiki, who will be joining us to bring us updates from Nigeria. From there, after that, we'll go to other parts of the world, looking at some of the other stories in details. And at 11:30, the lines are open for you to add your voice to the discussions. A 30 minutes window opportunity. And then at 12 o'clock, we'll take you straight to the Houses of Parliament for the Prime Minister's question time. Well, so in a gist, that's what's going to happen today. But I remain yours sincerely, the one and only.
This is the morning show with Archie.
Playing in the background, something from Cici Bedu and Crafted Nation. You remain the same. But as we announced since yesterday, yeah, it's all going to be happening live. What is going to happen live there? This evening exactly at 18 hours BST, British Summertime, or GMT +1. It will all be happening live on Niger Voices. Mr. Olayomi Koiki will be having or hosting Chief Mrs. Onichiri Abiola on Niger Voices on Star Radio UK. So make a date with them. You have some questions that you want him to put across to her. So feel free, forward it all to Mr. Olayomi Koiki, or we'll be giving you during the course of the program. He will be giving you a number that you can forward it to, or on a Facebook page, and he will post those questions to Chief Mrs. Onitri Abiola. Okay, so let's continue with the show.
One more time. You never change.
Well, the quote for today says success flows to and from people who are determined to be successful and are indeed successful. That is where success flows from. I'm moving on straight to the weather front. Now, another hot weather or hot day looming, and the worst one too still to be expected over the weekend or by Friday. Okay, so for those of you in London and the southeast of England, this is how the weather is going to be for you today. It will be another warm day. There will be extensive sunshine, but some patchy cloud will develop during the afternoon, clearing again by evening, remaining dry throughout. And this evening we'll see further sunny spells. Tonight it will be a mostly clear night with just a few bands of high cloud. It will continue to stay dry throughout. When it comes to the temperatures for London and the southeast of England, 27 degrees tops. The lowest is going to be 14 degrees. Pollen level is going to be high. UV level is going to be high. Pollen is going to be very high. Yeah, UV level high and pollution moderate. Sunset 21:19 and sunrise for tomorrow morning 04:43 hours. And that brings us to the end of the weather forecast. It's All Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's take a quick commercial break. We come back and I bring you the travel update. Don't go away. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones. It is Starr Radio UK.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Check it out. This is Starr Radio UK.
Okay, so keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads. I'm keeping navigated. I promise I'll be on the Starr Radio UK travel update that comes to you every weekday from 10:40. It's now 10:46. So what is your travels like? You want to share with us wherever you are, feel free to do so. Yes, for those of you in London, partly in the UK as well. Well, I went to West Coast. Let me start from the underground. Then we come to the National Rail as the last. When it comes to the underground this morning here in London, Bakerloo line have got severe delays between Queen's Park and Harrow and Wheatstone. There are minor delays on the rest of the line due to emergency engineering works to fix a damaged signaling equipment at Elephant and Castle. London buses and London Overground and Thameslink are accepting London Overground tickets. Okay, so keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads. I'll keep you navigated. I promise. Our board. I'm moving on straight to the major roads in London. Quite a quiet one, but A4 and Central London Red routes have got closures there, so check before you leave. I'm moving on to the river bus. What a time to be on the river bus. That will be a lovely time. Well, on the river bus this morning, Woolwich Ferry has got special service. That aside, all the others, good service. But keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads. I'll keep you navigated. I promise I'll born on the final segment of the travel update. That is the National Rail. On the National Rail this morning, Avanti West Coast has got special service, Cross Country special service, Northern Rail, minor delays, Southwestern Railway special service, and Transport for Wales special service there as well. And you know, as I was saying, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today. But you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the roads.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Okay, welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Wednesday edition of the morning show. A very swift one, you know. So if you are standing, hold on to something. You are sitting, sit very comfortably, but get yourself a hot or cold drink, whichever is appropriate, as it's hot here in London. Yes, and enjoy the ride or the flight. You know, interestingly, it gets bumpy at times, but be rest assured of one thing.
Archie on Starr Radio. Nobody does it better.
So you are assured of a safe delivery or arrival at your destination. Alright, now let's go global trotting. 10 minutes to the top of the hour. Starr Radio UK. Welcome on board once again. When it comes to Nigeria, some of the stories that we're going to be looking at, that Mr. Olayomi has posted already. Importers are not getting dollars to import this diesel at the official rate of CBN. So everybody is going to black market to get dollars to import their diesel. And Tinubu, not governors, will decide APC vice presidential candidate. Uzudima is also saying there. In 2023, Buhari didn't attempt to impose consensus candidate, claims Garba Shehu. No, ordinary Nigerians don't care about religion, Northern Elders Forum says amid APC Muslim ticket controversy. The other story that we'll be looking at as well, groups including the Christian Association of Nigeria and the Catholic Society of Nigeria have warned political parties against fielding a Muslim ticket in the 2023 presidential election. What do you think about that? You want to appease them, so you give them Christians a ticket. They are being advised as well. Well, we'll see what the major parties are going to do about that. We've seen a Christian Muslim ticket, and what did it end? Nigeria. More insecurity. Will a Muslim give them security that they need? Make sure you join us in the next few minutes. Don't go away, because we're going to be looking into details at those stories. But when it comes to Ghana, there is a boost for small SMEs, let me put it that way, as Development Bank Ghana takes off. And it's a bank that the president went to take a loan for, but all the negotiations and those whatever payments, commissions that they had to pay after that, I was looking at it and thinking, what's the point? Okay, it is all Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. The National Cathedral Kufuor is building God's house on lies reception, Kofi Odro says. Prophet Dr. Kofi Odro of the Alabaster International Ministry has said President Nana Kufuor is redeeming his personal National Cathedral pledge to God through lies and deception. According to Prophet Oduro, the president and the government said no national funds will be used for the cathedral, but that has turned out not to be the case now. Well, that has been the reason why we have Dr. Mensa Otabil, founder and leader of the International Central Gospel Church, has decided to quit or exit the board of governors or trustees. Well, membership of the board of trustees for the National Cathedral has been updated to reflect the exit of Dr. Mensa Otabil, the founder of the International Central Gospel Church. And how is that going to impact the project that is ongoing at the moment? How is that going to impact the project that is ongoing at the moment? Has it taken the wind out of the sails? Well, we'll be looking more into that as well. It is all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, on the African continent as well, Ethiopia Prime Minister says committee looking into possibility of peace talks with Tigray. Well, we always say this on this platform. War is not the way. Jaw is. Sometimes when you war and quickly you come to your senses, come and jaw. Maybe that's what it's saying. And so coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, UK's Rwanda plan undermines principle of international solidarity. Migrant expert claims UK is looking for excuses to escape previous commitments. Well, it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. Burkina Army abandoned town as militant attacked. Well, a sad one there. Okay, so in other stories as well across the globe. Well, government plans new Rwanda flight after grounding the first one that was supposed to have taken place yesterday. And so the Tuesday flight for asylum seekers was cancelled minutes before taking off after a late legal challenge. And then EU takes new legal action over Brexit deal. The Brussels says altering the Northern Ireland Protocol breaks international law, but the UK disputes this. I keep on saying this. Now, depending on how you interpret a law, that is how you see it, and that is how you call yourself. So you say, I'm abiding by the law or the rules because I think that your own interpretation, but not how people are interpreting it. Well, the EU saying that breaks the protocol of the Northern Ireland Treaty, but the UK says, no, it's not legal. It's not illegal at all. Everything in there is perfect. Now, what do you think about all that? We'll be looking into that in the next few moments. Now, millions get cost of living payment from the 14th of July. More than 8 million UK homes will get a first of two cost of living payments totaling £650. I'll be bringing you more on that front as well. And then the government seems determined to press ahead with its plans, writes some editor pertaining to the refugees that have to be flown to Rwanda. They say it's a one-way ticket. Okay. And then the final story that we'll be looking at as well. UK airlines have been told to cancel flights they can't deliver this summer to stop a rerun of May's travel chaos. The government and the aviation regulator wrote to carriers on Tuesday telling them to ensure their summer timetables were deliverable. They added that their earlier cancellations were better than axing flight at the last minute. It comes after tens of thousands of passengers have been affected by cancellations and delays at airports. So those are some of the stories that we're going to be looking at in the next few moments. Well, it's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. Now, voters oust Republican who voted to impeach Trump. Tom Wright had acknowledged he could be politically doomed, but said he was following his conscience. Okay. And the first attempt at safe route of out of encircle Ukraine city, the corridor out of the city of Severodonetsk will only allow civilians to reach Russia-backed areas. Well, This and a lot more going to be coming your way in the next few moments, so don't you go away. We'll have in Mr. Olayomi Koiki in the next few moments as well. But enjoy this song. This is from Akese Brimpong, and it says, I could sing of your love. Enjoy it.
Akese Brimpong and the tribe of Judah. Give that all a shout. Wow. I'm just lost for words seeing all of you in here tonight.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
Your support in diverse ways. Amen. The way you love me, and I'm just lost for words. I'm just standing here, thinking about the way that you love me.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
Love affair, everybody say. You just say ooh, ooh, okay. It's a spiritual love affair. Say. I can see your Bible. Just get your groove on.
In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your
Starr Radio
smartphone.
UK.
Everybody say, whoa, yeah. Spiritual affair. Derek, you ready? Yeah. Over the mountains and the sea, your river runs with love for me, and I will open up my heart, let the healer set me free. I'm happy to be in your truth, and I will daily lift my hands. I will always sing when your love came down. Say, oh, 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 you know it. Everybody sing. And I will open up my heart, let the healer set me free. I'm happy to be in your truth, and I will daily lift my hands. I will always sing up when you.
This is Starr Radio UK.
I could sing of your love. I could sing of your love. I could sing of your love forever. I sing it every morning. I could sing of your every love time. Forever. Every midnight hour. I could sing of La la la. Sing it with me. La la la. 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 Go. La la la. 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 Forever. Forever. And ever. And ever. Forever. Forever.
This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Forever. And ever. And ever. Forever.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Starr Radio. Radio for the people. Live.
I could sing of your love forever. Come on, put your hands together like that. Forever. I will sing.
Yeah, sing of his love forever. By Akase Brimpong. On Starr Radio UK on his Wednesday edition of the morning show. Bringing the time now to almost 5 minutes past the top of the hour. That means that we should be having Miss Olayomi joining us in the next few minutes.
Sing it with me. La la la.
But well, thank you very much for tuning in once again to listen to us on Starr Radio UK.
La la la.
And as I did announce earlier on,
La la la. La la la. La la la. La la la.
tonight exactly at
La la la. Forever. Forever. And ever. And ever. Forever. Forever. And ever. And ever. Forever.
so tonight exactly at 18 hours BST, Mr. Olayomi Koiki will be coming your way with Niger Voices. But he will be having a very special guest. Very, very, very special. In the person of Chief Mrs. Onitiri Abiola. So all of you who need a question or who have a question that you want to pose, feel free to do so when we have Mr. Olayomi Koiki on. Tonight, exactly at 18 hours BST. There seems to be a poor connection to our North London studios, but we are working assiduously on it. So just bear with us, just bear with us, just bear with us whilst we still continue to work on that for you.
Sing of your love forever. I could sing of your love forever.
Okay, so let's take a commercial break, and once we come back, we'll be having Mr. Olayomi Koiki joining in. So stay tuned, don't you go away. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medase.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clemens, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy. Okay, welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. It's gone 11 minutes past 11, and it is the Wednesday edition of the morning show. And I've got with me here now Mr. Olayomi Koiki. And let me say, Yomi, good morning to you.
Well, a very good morning to you back in the studio. It is the 15th day of June 2022, and I do know it is a Wednesday and we need to be going to the Parliament at 12 p.m. So we're going to have to be as very quickly as possible, but be rest assured later on in the evening we would have ample of time to discuss everything you need to know about Nigeria, about the news, about everything happening. But for now, this is Starr Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, and I come back again to you in the studio.
Yes, how are you doing, sir?
Well, looking from the view, the road is quite empty, and that means that it's a working day. It's still a school day, and that means a lot of people are already in school. Quite a bit of traffic. The weather is quite very bright outside there. But like we always say, when you are alive, there's a lot that you can think about. But when you are dead, there's little that you can do in this world.
Well, that is a statement that we always make, and that is Mr. Olayomi Koiki. But before we go on to the story that we're going to be looking at today, I've been flying the flyer. People have been asking about it. I told someone about the special guest you'll be having today. Okay, listeners, just bear with us. Bear with us whilst we get Mr. Olayomi Koiki's line back on. Just bear with us. I think there's a bit of connectivity issue there, but while we try to get him back on, as I did say earlier on, we'll be having the one and only Chief Mrs. Onitiri Abiola joining in today on the Niger Voices at 18 hours BST. You know, she's been an advocate for the Yoruba nation, and she's one of the champions, let me put it that way. So we will be telling you more about that. But now I've got Mr. Olayomi Koiki, so let me quickly go to him for him to just talk briefly about that before we go on, because I know people are inquiring about who the Chief Mrs. Onitiri Abiola is. Yes, Yomi, once again, welcome.
Chief Mrs. Abiola Onitiri is one of the wives of the late icon, a philanthropist, the one that was not allowed to become the president in 1993, and that changed a lot of history of what we are all enjoying for those that are enjoying the democracy. Now, the wife will be with us on Niger Voices at exactly 6 p.m. like you said. She's gonna focus this evening more about the Yoruba nation self-determination, which she's been part of that movement as well. She's going to be telling us what we need to know. Where are we after the 5 million petition? And as at yesterday, they've already brought out about 19 different designs of passport that was submitted by the Yorubas from different part of the globe. She's going to be giving us, is it possible to, to get a passport without, the nation being recognized? And all these will be contained in that interview. We hope the network will be as good as it is so that we can be able to hear everything that she's going to be discussing with us at 6 p.m. So we like to say to those that are watching right now to join us later on at 6 p.m. where Chief Mrs. Abiola Onitiri will be live on Niger Voices on your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, Starr Radio UK.
Yes, so that is for your information. Don't miss out. If you've missed Niger Voices all this while, please don't miss out. You want to know why the Yoruba nation agitating that they want to leave or they want to break away from Nigeria? You want somebody to convince you or debunk whatever your fears are. Make sure you join that program exactly at 18 hours BST. All right, now we are pressed with time, so let's crack on. Well, Buhari's regime should increase fuel prices. That's what suppliers are saying. I mean, like Nigerians are not already suffering. And when it comes to Africa, the moment fuel prices go up, it affects everything. Everything. It affects everything. So, Yomi, what is that about?
Well, we do know that, since the government came in, they were promised that there would be what we can call the refinery. The refinery refused to work. Not because they refused to work, because money was not invested in one of the 4 refineries that we have in Nigeria. And that literally means that, we have to bring in all the importation from somewhere like United Kingdom in Southampton, where our produce is being reproduced and brought back to Nigeria and some other countries as well. But since, the Ukraine-Russia war as well, there's been a lot of pressure getting some of these refined produce back into Nigeria. And the headline that you saw there says, Buhari regime should increase the fuel prices, suppliers. Importers are not getting dollars to import the diesel at the official rate of the Central Bank of Nigeria. So everybody is now going into the black market to get dollars to import the diesel. Why don't we have enough dollars is the question that will be in the minds of our listeners in Uganda, in Ghana, in Sierra Leone, or some other African countries or the continent. The reason is Nigeria is not a producing country of anything, and that means we have to literally bring everything into the country, and we do not have anything that we are selling back to the world. We do sell, but not to the large quantity that will give us enough reserve like any other countries around the globe. So this morning, suppliers are now telling the government we cannot continue to buy the dollar in the black market rather than the official rate from the Central Bank of Nigeria, and that means they're asking for increase in the diesel or the petrol that is being sold in Nigeria this morning.
So what have been the reaction from government on that particular statement?
Well, the government has always defended that they are doing everything possibly best to make sure that we have, dollar in circulation. If you are sending your children to come and school in UK or America, you will need a dollar. But you cannot get that dollar in the bank rate, and that means millions of Nigerians have to go to the black market. The Natural Oil and Gas Supply Association of Nigeria, NAGOSA, has called on President Muhammadu Buhari regime to increase the price of the fuel. Maybe that might come true, but maybe not. We would have to wait and see. The government have not literally responded to that, but we do know that increase the fuel price a little so that the savings will be enough for the central bank to have enough forex. You and I know that everything now is imported. The diesel is imported. It is a full deregulation business, according to the Nagora president, Bennett Okoro, while fielding questions from journalists in Abuja. Are Nigerians going to be happy? Remember, we were talking about Peter Obi yesterday saying that 100 million Nigerians are currently under the capital poverty of the world. Should you add an increase to the petrol price, that would also create a lot of pain to millions of Nigerians across the country.
Well, listeners, Star Radio UK, update from Nigeria with Mr. Olayomi Koiki in our North London studios. I'm Archie in the South studios here. Now, let's move on to one other story that's making the rounds there as well. Now, the APC went for their Congress, elected a flag bearer. Now, some people are of the view, or were of the view, that it was an imposition by the president, Buhari. But we have his spokesperson, Gabashe, who has come to say that no, he didn't impose. So Tinubu wasn't an imposition on them or whoever candidate that he was fielding. We were not very sure. But what has been his explanation, or what was he talking about there?
Well, when the question was asked so many times, to Buhari, who is going to be his preferred choice, he kept very quiet on that. He never gave any hint, he never gave any clue. But towards the convention, they wanted to bring in what they would have called a consensus candidate. And that means they would have forced someone on the other political affiliator or the political gladiator among each other. But Gabashe is coming out to say President Muhammadu Buhari refused to act as an elected autocrat before and during all Progressive Congress presidential primary that saw the emergency of the ex-governor of Lagos State, Bola Tinubu, as the party flag bearer. According to Mr. Buhari, refused to openly endorse a presidential aspirant, but there's a lot of evidence that indicated that he would have preferred Ahmed Lawan, the senator, the Senate president, as against the current one that has been picked up at the moment. But we will see how far that we go, because there's already a lot of, the moving around. Just after the primaries, there were a lot of movement between some of their political parties moving to PDP. Are we going to see the APC break up, like I said in February when I came back, after a couple of months away? We will see that. All that we will be able to find out, because it doesn't look like some of the social cultural group have said, that the power does not want to leave the North. And that literally means that they are now also pushing the agenda of a Muslim ticket on millions of Nigerians. And a lot of the Christian Association of Nigeria are already saying we would not allow that. But again, we would wait and see whether some of the members of the APC will be joining the PDP. Time will tell.
Well, listeners, Star Radio UK. Still on that, the running mate for the various candidates. We don't know. Articles, PDP are going to announce theirs tomorrow, as we've posted. And then, with the APC, who is going to pick? Is it Tinubu is going to pick, or is the party going to impose?
It's going to be a very tricky one. Tinubu, not governors, would decide APC vice presidential candidate. That's coming from Uzodinma. So let's take a look at that. That's one of the headlines. According to what we know, it is up to the APC presidential candidate, Bola Tinubu, and not the party governor, to decide who will be the vice president candidate, says Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State. During the time of Buhari, it is now that we know that there was, the party do have what they call internal conversation to decide who they want to lead, as the next person, that will be brought to Nigerians. And during that time, Tinubu did mention during the campaign before, the presidential convention, that he was the one that pulled, the vice president that we are seeing right now as the candidate. So that means Buhari did not have that option to decide on his own who would have preferred choice as the vice president. Are we going to see Tinubu making that decision on his own, or will he have no other option to listen to the governors, especially from the northern part, to make that decision on his behalf? Like I said, time will tell. It's just about, we're expecting that announcement today, should that go ahead. But like I've been told, he's currently having a medical treatment in London, I'm talking about Tinubu himself. So whether that announcement will come, we'll probably be able to know before Niger Voices at 6 p.m. And then we'll be able to announce that to those that are listening to us on Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Well, Nigerians look at the fact that even before he became a president, he's already been flown to the UK to come and receive health treatment, medical treatment here. So you ask yourself the question, haven't we seen one before where a whole president decides to leave the country for months on end in the UK just to receive treatment? Would that happen again? Well, when it gets to the voters, we see who they will be voting for. But the northern elders, or what do they call them? The northern elders, elders forum are saying that Nigerians are not concerned when it comes to religion. They don't care about that religion. So they are of the view that a Muslim ticket will work. So Nigerians don't care. So far as we have a president, one from the north, maybe the vice from the south, it is okay. Whether they are Christians, Muslim, that doesn't matter. What is your take on that?
Well, you're quite right. Nigerians are concerned about that. But the Northern Elder Forum are more from, like you did mention, the Northern. So they'll prefer a Muslim ticket. But according to Khan, is already warning the parties not to go in that direction. And the headline says, Muslim ticket. Khan orders warn parties as Buhari meet the governors. PDP names Atiku vice president on Thursday. Tomorrow, we're expecting the APC one today. Groups including the Christian Association of Nigeria and the Catholic Society of Nigeria have warned political parties against fielding a Muslim ticket in 2023 general election. They gave the warning as the president, Muhammadu Buhari, the APC governors and party presidential candidate on Tuesday intensified the move to pick Tinubu's running mate ahead of the Friday deadline by the Independent National Electoral Commission. So whatever it is, in the next less than 72 hours from now, we must know someone that will be representing some of this political party.
Okay, we'll see.
Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Yes, we'll see who it will be, whether Muslim or Muslim Christian, or now we can't say Christian. There isn't anything of the sort. All right then. Now let me say good morning to Anthony Adedeji once again. Thank you very much for joining us as well. But let's go back to Yomi for some of the other stories making the rounds. Over to you, Yomi.
Well, yesterday we couldn't give a clear picture of what happened at the court procession between the federal government, between Ilana Modua of the 1999, the validity of the 1999 Constitution. But I can give you the statement that was released, by the press, the secretary, the communication secretary of Ilana Modua yesterday, and this is a long one, but I'm just going to read a little bit quickly out of it. Ilana Omodua versus the federal government, INEC. The judge have struck out the suit challenging the making and validity of the 1999 Constitution, the conduct of the Ekiti gubernatorial poll over lack of local stand jurisdiction, a ruling miscarriage of justice. Judge erred on local stand jurisdiction. We shall appeal the ruling. Ilana Omodua led counsel Tolu Babaleye on Tuesday 14th, 2022. Justice Banji of Federal High Court sitting in Ado-Ekiti has struck out the case instituted by the apex body of the Yoruba Self-Determination Movement, Ilana Omodua Worldwide, challenging the making and the validity of that. All these I'll be explaining a little bit further, during the Niger Voices because of the time constraint this morning. But what we can say is the judge has argued that the 6 people that have brought the case forward as against, the whole 200 million Nigerians on that constitution, again, is not something that they can continue with. So that case has been struck off, but there will be, according to the statement, a review of that from the Ilana Omodua. Again, what next after this is a question that a lot of the Yorubas are asking. Some have already said that going to the court in the first place is not really worth it, because you are dealing with a government that is not going to listen, especially some of the politicians. I'm going to quickly go at some of the other headline, and then we can go straight into the social media, and then we can bring it down in just about 10 minutes from now. Lagos tenant raped a neighbor, 16-year-old daughter, commit suicide. What a very terrible one there as well. A presidential poll, Kwankwaso Peter Obi raised the stake in the NNP, and the Labour Party are now threatening APC and PDP. There's also a rumor out there that there might be a merger between Kwankwaso of the NNPP and the Labour Party of Peter Obi. That is also something that is still being debated. Diesel price may hit 1,500 naira per litre. 75% of the filling station are completely closed as we speak. Also, monkeypox spread to 15 states. Cases now 36 according to the NCDC. I'm going to take one more, and this is a very sad one. Professor Soyinka's brother Femi dies at 85. We all know Professor Wole Soyinka, a Nobel laureate and a professor of comparative literature. Wole Soyinka, Professor Femi Soyinka, a brother of a Nobel laureate, Professor Wole Soyinka, has died. May so rest in peace. The former provost of the College of Health and Science of Obafemi University died yesterday at the age of 85. This is Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. I'm going to take us straight to the Twitter, like I said, because of the time constraint this morning. Then we're going to just review that quickly, and then we can bring this broadcast to an end, and then we can prepare going into the Parliament Q&A right here in UK. Bashiru Mustafa says, Yoruba nation will stand. One people, one culture, one language. There is currently ongoing in Belgium as we speak right now, the 1 million march that has been put together by all the different groups of self-determination. That started yesterday, but that is still an ongoing situation. And I've been looking at some of the, the pictures coming out, the videos, and you can tell that millions of people have been following, that event that is going on in Belgium as we speak. So let's take a look at some other quick headline that is coming out of social media this morning. Once again, if you're watching, this is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Nigeria scored 10 in their AFCON qualifier. That is also coming right there. Peter Obi, just about 20 hours ago, I just departed for Egypt on a 3-day visit as part of my detailed study of comparable countries to Nigeria. In Egypt, I'm expected to understudy, among others, the Egyptian power sector, education, planning and finance sector. I'm sure a lot of Nigerians have done so before. The question is, what is going to be the changes? David Odoye, it is almost as if Nigeria is just coming out of a 7 years under its all-time low, head of state, trying to pretend like our standard are suddenly extra high because you don't want Peter Obi makes you look silly, especially when the other contenders are heroin dealer and Atiku. So you can see that there's a lot of bashing on the social media. I'm going to take one more quickly, and then I'm going to come back again to you. Doyin Okukwe, a former presidential spokesman during the Jonathan. Peter Obi has been scheduled previously, even before his primaries. His mission principally is to see the plant installed by Siemens, which doubled the generating capacity of Egypt in 4 years, to hold talks directly with the COI on what would be visible for Nigeria at what cost. Again, the bashing continued. And I'm looking at Davido. Davido is a very popular artist in Nigeria. The only way to win election now in Nigeria is to win the vote. We no one hear any other thing. If you win, you win. You lose, you lose. Go home. Well, the question is, have there been ever a credible election in Nigeria? Because the first one was rigged by the British in 1959. And the previous election that we also attended as an observer, Star Radio UK in 2019, most Igbo in the Lagos were not allowed to vote. Already, there's been marginalization of people that wanted to collect their PVC, of the ethnic group of the Igbo, has not been allowed to collect their PVC in Lagos. Could there be a kind of some push so that the PDP might not probably get the advantage? Because we saw that while I was in Nigeria in 2019 to capture as an observer, all the Igbo traders were warned not to vote for PDP because if otherwise, they will not allow to continue their businesses in Lagos. The question again is, will there ever be unity among us? Are we ever going to see unity? As a lot of people are now saying, maybe the best option is self-determination, an independent country of each other, and we can work along just as it's done across the globe. I'm going to come back to you in the studio. This is Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London at exactly 11:32 a.m. Back to you in Croydon.
Well, listeners, quite an interesting story there. Let me say good morning to Bashir Abdul Salam, Toron Badi. Yes, Papa, yes, good morning to you, all the way in Badi local government area in your Bay State. Okay, Alhaji Bashir, we salute you, sir, we salute you. Okay, now, Yomi, let's look at just a quick one on Peter Obi. Do you think that he could be the running mate for either... okay, I'm looking at it that the PDP could have him as a running mate because he comes from the south, right?
Well, the chances of him going back to PDP, you don't know, because there's a lot of conversation that goes underneath by these politicians. So it's very difficult to know what the advantage will be for him. He wanted to contest as the president under PDP. The chances of him having enough dollar like Atiku will not be there. Kwankwaso also is a strong force in the north, and he has actually left the party to have his own into NNPP. So would there be a match between Kwankwaso and Peter Obi? Like I always say, we don't know what the politicians are thinking in their head, but what we know is a lot of Nigerians are now becoming more attentive to all the details depending on which side you are. As 5 million Yorubas are saying we're ready to go, more Nigerians are saying there's still option to revive Nigeria.
Well, is there an option to revive Nigeria? That's the question. But you want to know more about those who are thinking, groups that are thinking, look, we need to live because we think we are being marginalized. We think that resources that are made from our areas is not being expended on us, is being used or wasted elsewhere, blah, blah, blah. Do you think that is a story? This night or tonight exactly at 18 hours BST, Mr. Olayomi Koiki is hosting the one and only Chief Mrs. Onitiri Abiola. So yes, that is the flyer on the screen at the moment. So join him exactly at 18 hours. That is 6 p.m. here in the UK or GMT. That is 17 GMT plus 1. So 18 hours GMT plus 1. Okay. Yes, at that time, and he will be bringing you Niger voices with his special guest. Yomi, before you go.
Well, before we go, make sure you continue to listen to Star Radio UK. This is where we're going to be giving you everything you need to know about what is going to happen. Let's give us the countdown as we do every day on Star Radio UK before I finally go. And that means, the days, the month, the weeks, and the seconds as whether election will hold or there will be another Soviet Union as we saw in 1991 when Soviet Union eventually dissolved. 240 days, 13 hours, 24 minutes, and the seconds keep dropping. And it says that the Yoruba nation now, no election in Nigeria come 2023. All that will become something more clearable when we speak to Chief Mrs. Abiola Onitiri on Niger Voices later on as our special guest this evening. But don't go anywhere. Continue to listen to Star Radio UK. You can also follow us on www.starradiouk.com. And if you want to send money to your loved ones back in any part of Africa, remember to use SendWaves. And that would also mean S for Star, R for Radio. My name is Olayomi Koiki, and I'll be back again same time tomorrow for more review and news headline from Nigeria as we know.
Thank you very much, Yomi. Have a wonderful afternoon. See you later.
Bye for now.
Bye. Well, listeners, it is Star Radio UK. 11:37 the time. Let's take a quick breather with this music coming from Nigeria. Peace, 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 peace. Song of peace for Nigeria. Enjoy that, and I will be with you in the next few moments to bring you some of the stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. Stay tuned.
Quiet and gloomy, peace don't live here no more. No more.
Can't believe how much we've hurt each other. Can't believe the damage we've done.
Brothers hurting brothers, neighbor harming. This is Star Radio UK.
For their parents, act down before their time.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
This is Star Radio UK. This is Star Radio UK.
Is the way we want to
Well, it's Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Song of Peace for Nigeria, Song of Peace for Africa, Song of Peace for the world as a whole. But we are pressed up every time, so we have to leave that there. We'll be bringing that later on during the Niger Voices, or later on tomorrow when we bring you another edition of the morning show. But thank you very much for joining us. Don't you go away. Let me announce the lines open, though we don't have the time. But you come in if you want to come on. Just a quick one, and then you just go so that we can finish all the updates that we are bringing across. Call us on 0208 133 2257 or 580208 133 2257 or 58. US or Canada is 001-7183-032737. 001-7183-032737. Text or WhatsApp at 07539661744. 07539661744. Our Twitter handle is Starr Radio UK, and email is info@starradiouk.com. Stay tuned and don't you go away. Okay, so now when it comes to some of the other stories making the rounds, from Ghana, the Development Bank Ghana has begun operation with an initial government equity investment of $250 million. Now, apart from the government initial investment, the bank has also enjoyed some investment from the European Investment Bank, which has provided 170 million euros. The World Bank, which has given the DBG $225 million, and the African Development Bank, the AFDB, which has given a grant of $40 million to the DBG. The coming on board of the DBG is in fulfillment of the government's plan of increasing the number of banks that will support small and medium scale enterprises. But the question is, now we had some banks. We had the Indum Bank, GN Bank. We had what do you call him? What are some of the other banks? Dr. Otabel, Dr. What's his name? Owner of Starr firm. All those banks that they had there. Okay, but government decided to dissolve those banks, and now have come out to say that okay, now this is a new bank that we. I mean, let's put in the same old structures and same old people up there. And you think that what is going to happen to that? Well, it's all Starr Radio UK. Okay, I think I've got Mr. Kofi Ali. We just pick a quick one from him, and then we go on to some of the other stories. Kofi, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well. And you?
Not very bad. In fact, I took my time today to listen to your earlier submission. Directly with Olayomi.
Okay.
And they have serious challenges. We all do pray that the heavens help those who help themselves. Is that not true? When people behave collectively and the rationale behind their thinking is beyond logical sense, what kind of prayer can you make for those kind of people? What kind of heaven can help them? The reason why I'm asking this question is crude oil is found in Nigeria. Is that not true?
Yeah.
If crude oil is found in Nigeria, all you need is to refine the crude oil inside Nigeria.
Yeah.
And when you refine the crude oil, you will be able to get the same crude oil, you get petrol and you get diesel. And therefore, the issue of the dollar involvement in how you distribute and use your own oil and petrol will not come into any question, will it?
No. If it will just be minimal.
The wisdom of our brothers who did their problems seriously deserve prayers. Seriously. They are telling us that, right? It makes sense to them. Because if it doesn't make sense, they won't be talking about doing it. Because what we are not hearing here now is why. You see, the issue of what do you call that thing? The what do you call it?
Refinery.
The issue of setting up their own refinery.
Yeah.
Rather than thinking of we are short of crude oil because we don't have dollar.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Tell you their priorities and the way they are understanding the problem.
Yeah.
It's serious. So they used to have 3 refineries.
Yeah.
3. That is it 4? 2 in Warri, one in Port Harcourt and one in Kaduna. For strategic reasons and political reasons.
Yeah.
These people that who knows who created them, they say we shouldn't say God is not the one who created most of them. They shut it down. They were putting fire into it. They supported the killing of Abacha, who was insisting he will not allow those who want to move the crude oil from outside Nigeria to have their way. They supported them. Now, the petrol they are now importing, you understand? Initially, the whole thing was they export all the crude oil and not finished product.
Yeah.
Then some of their politicians like Murtala and Co argue that it doesn't make sense. Youth are coming out of universities, no job. Why should they, if they are crude oil producers, they must have refineries on their land?
Yeah.
They did that too. Although it cost them a huge money, and then the pipeline and all those things came into bank. So right now, all those things are obsolete. They are closed down.
Yeah.
And they come telling us that that they know what they are doing, and you think they know what they are doing? All of them. You think they know? The leaders and the followers are not normal. With all due respect, I know in Ghana we have our own mad people. We have our own abnormal people, leaders and followers. But the problem you are seeing that Nigeria is self-explanatory. Is that not true? Do you remember in Olayomi's submission, he said the first election in Nigeria was rigged, 1959. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And since then, nothing has really worked. Who rigged it? He says it's British. And you don't know that there are external forces influencing the way you do things. And you think all the problem is inside because 90% of what you consume in your country is now imported. And you see, go to Ghana. If you go to Togo, if you go to Senegal, you will then see that all of them, all these 15 nations I mentioned, are importers of finished goods and exporters of raw materials.
Yeah.
And therefore, it key us into the dollar dynamics network. Isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
Putin is telling them, if you cannot buy my oil in my money, then tough. We don't even have the money. Because what we have are papers. They are useless. If you don't have local manufacturing outlets that compared with the foreign ones in this so-called free trade economy, then what kind of rich people do they have in that Nigeria? What do they do to be rich? Still government money? Because you need to. We know names like Eleganza and so on and so forth who have industry. The day I went to Apapa, I thought at that what do you call it? That there is whatever. There is a place where you have Eleganza. You understand? Towards that Lagos Ibadan Expressway. That's boy. When I went to Apapa and see, I walked almost 5 minutes, about 10 minutes, my friend, or 50 minutes from one end of the factory to the other. They are all now dead.
Well, we sabotage ourselves, you know. That's what we love.
The problem is that we are part of the global network. Do you understand? In this global network is the survival of the fittest. And people who think of nationhood, we have our own Ashanti people. They think of nationhood on the basis of what? Of tribes. Can you see? And that is exactly where the colonial master even got us. We cannot have a common vision to say, these are our economic plan and this is what we want to achieve. If you stop thinking of nationhood, Oduduwa and all Yarara and all this in an Ashanti kingdom and all this thing, thinking Ghana is an Ashanti kingdom, and then all over West Africa, they will start thinking of nationhood based on vision. Can you see? Then you will see that we all have the same problem, and then the ECOWAS dream comes into action.
Okay.
What we have now Nigeria is competing with Chinese. You know how much Chinese is dumping into that economy.
Yes, we know.
The French are there within the European Union, sabotaging them through Benin Republic. And then American big powers, they make sure that the oil there is controlled by them. So they decide who rule. They decide who become your president. You see these politicians jumping up and down. They spend the money they spend for their election. Have you asked yourself, where does the money come from? Where did Buhari got his money from? Have you asked yourself that question before? Is it the military money, or you are saying the political party is so rich? And it's a lie. They are financed from outside. That is why we vote for people that we get nothing out of them.
Okay.
Why don't we take our own common criminals across West Africa? Now everybody is going electric. Is that not true? We have not solved the problem of electricity. Talk less of electric car.
Okay, we need to run up because I need to look at the other stories as well.
Talk about made in West African car. That is common to all of us, and all of us are patronizing that car.
That would be
you know that we have advantage to do what Ford did in America, having so many borders to cross.
Yeah.
Yes, within America, that's why they did far better than the Europeans who are within the smaller borders until very recently they became wiser. It has nothing to do with skin color.
Yeah, of course.
Stupidity can be part of a people. It has nothing to do with skin color.
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay, Kofi.
I think we need to all wake up. I am not pointing fingers at Nigeria, so be careful.
No, I get you. We have to go because I need to finish with the updates.
We all have a common problem that deserves a common solution.
Of course.
Else we shall continue to be where we are.
Okay.
People in 1960 even saw it. Kwame Nkrumah and co. Talk less of educated people now. And they are busy with their own do. They should continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kofi. Thank you very much. Well, listeners, that is Kofi Ali with his take on the issues that is going on pertaining to Nigeria, looking at the oil refinery and everything, and thinking that unity is the best forward, or is the only way for us as a people to develop. All right, but let's move on to some of the other stories that is making the rounds. We are very, very pressed with time, so I'll just quickly skip through some of the stories there. Now, the National Cathedral Kufuor building God's house on lies and deception. That's one of the pastors, Prophet Dr. Kofi Odro of the Alabaster International Ministry has said that Nana Kufuor is redeeming his personal National Cathedral pledge to God through lies and deception. Now, according to Dr. Odro, the president and the government said no national funds will be used for the cathedral, but that has turned out not to be the case now. Now, Prophet Odro, who supports the idea of national cathedral, however, said this morning that on 13th of June, that the way the president and the government are going about it is wrong. Okay, now there's been another issue pertaining to the National Cathedral, and this time around, the board of the trustees for the National Cathedral has been updated to reflect the exit of Dr. Mensa Otabil, the founder of the International Central Gospel Church. Now, information coming through says that it is unclear what might have necessitated his exit from the board. Now, however, according to some news sources, several attempts to get him to rescind his decision failed, leaving the board with no choice but to amend the information on its website. The ranking member on Parliament Foreign Affairs Committee, Samuel Kujatwa Blakwa, had earlier revealed the news of his exit on Sunday. So he had come out to say that, well, this is what is bound to happen, and it has happened. Well, it's all Starr Radio UK. Now moving on to other part of Africa as well. Burkina Army abandoned town as militants attack survivors. Now the security forces have packed up and left. Several survivors of the attack in Sitenga, Burkina Faso, told some news sources that they found themselves alone against the attackers, jihadists who massacred at least 79 people, according to authorities. According to the eyewitnesses, the carnage began late Saturday in this town in northern Burkina Faso, a few kilometers from Niger, or Niger, in a region regularly battered by this type of attack carried out by a group affiliated with Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State group. Now, armed men came to take positions surrounding the village and shoot. They even opened the doors of the houses to go in and execute, said Amadou, a refugee in Dore, the large town near Sitenga. Now, the terrorists visited stores one after the other, setting some on fire. And that is a very, very sad one. Though we are pressed with time, I've seen Felix also join in. Let's quickly go to Felix and let's see what he also has to say. Felix, good morning to you.
Good morning or good afternoon, whichever one suits you or suits any of your listenership.
Okay. How are you doing, sir?
I think I'm okay. Yourself?
Yeah. Still prodding on, still prodding on.
Good.
Okay,
right.
yes.
I just want to add a few things to what Kofi Ali stated. Kofi Ali stated that one of the problems in Nigeria is the exportation of crude oil, and then, or at least initial exportation of crude oil, 100%, and then going to pay for the refined products. Yes, it's true. I think most of us have been to school, or at least have some lecture on this sort of thing, or tutelage on this sort of thing. We've been told that. But actually, you can also export things in raw material form and still make a lot of money out of it.
Okay.
If you look at the Middle Eastern countries, the Qataris, the Emiratis, the Saudis, the what's the name, Kuwaitis. A lot of these countries, they don't export their oil or gas refined. They just export them in the crude form. The difference is that they have significant control over the oil that they export.
Okay.
They don't have 10-15% ownership of their crude.
Okay.
Unlike our parts of the world. I mean, the Saudis are not known for major refinery of their own products. Right? They have absolutely, in some cases, 80 to 90% control over their... Yes. So even if you have that sort of thing, you still make a lot of money. Of course, you can make more money if you refine it. But if you have significant control over your gold, over your oil, you will make more money than what you are making now. And then over a period of time, you can invest some of those resources into the
refineries and the finished
refinery
products.
Bit, and the industrial chain that follows on from the production of the raw material itself. I mean, nothing stops a country like Ghana over all these years having significant investments in chocolate manufacturers around the world. Nothing stops us from having a significant investment in Nestle. Nothing stops us in having significant investments in some of these Swiss companies that have been manufacturing chocolate over the years. So that we'll have a stake in the down industries or the industries that follow on from the export of cocoa beans. We haven't done that. So these are our own problems. In fact, Kofi Ali summed it up. We have chosen stupidity as a way of doing things. And I've stated this, unfortunately, on your show. That's how people have chosen stupidity. Come down to the, National Cathedral. I wish when they finish with all these things about this National Cathedral, they'll have a hotline. So if you have a heart attack, you call the National Cathedral. If you're involved in a motor accident on the highway, you call the National Cathedral. If your grandma is feeling a bit dizzy, call the hotline at the National Cathedral. I'm not poo-pooing what people think or what people believe.
I get you.
But what are our priorities? What really are our priorities? Anytime it rains 30 minutes. I mean, the other time I was watching a video clip, and I think it was a City News reporter who was saying that it used to be the time that around this time of the year, people go to church praying for the rains to come. Now people are going to church
to
in some parts of the country. They are praying for the rains to come. The others are also praying for the rains not to come, because we know that when it rains even for 15, sometimes it doesn't even rain. It rains somewhere else. The people get flooding in their homes. Yet we are spending 200 million pounds on a foundation or something they call a National Cathedral that we didn't need in the first place. Our country is littered with church buildings all over the place, from warehouses to ancient church buildings. If you go to places like Cape Coast, there are church buildings that have been there for the last 200 plus years. So and yet even this building, this so-called cathedral, is all littered with lies. And I mean, some of the bishops, people who have spent many years building their reputation have not been tarnished because they were told to go out and tell the people that, this will not involve state funds.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how I'm surprised that these people are still sitting on that board.
Maybe that's why Mensa Tabel decided to just leave, because he's thinking about.
It doesn't matter. Sometimes look, when you and I were growing up, our grandparents used to tell us something. Good name is better than riches.
Yeah, of course.
I know a lot of people don't take that anymore, but sometimes it matters.
Yeah, it does. It does.
You say good name is, our grandparents told us that several times, good name is better than riches. And for people who are in, shall we say, noble jobs, teachers and, catechists and nurses, they were told that your reward is in heaven. Yes.
Yeah.
When it gets to a certain stage, I mean, how can anybody go and sit in this cathedral? The whole thing is littered in fraud. It's beginning to look like this is a grand scheme to loot off state resources. Monies are being turned into the hands of people left, right, and center. Even the contractors are saying that they've never seen any such money. That's the reason why some of them are moving their equipment out of sight.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I mean the whole thing is mired in I don't know. I mean, some people think they own the country anyway, so they decide what to do with the resources of the state. But sometimes you understand why the late Jerry Rawlings was never on good terms with some political elite in Ghana, and they were never on good terms with them because he did not have the stomach to take care of this nonsense.
Yeah,
people are dying in the train. That you see, when he was going to the drains at Nima, people insulted him. How come a president of the country is in the drains of Nima clearing rubbish?
Yeah.
Yes, but we've all seen what happens. If you don't do that, people will die in front of you, before your own eyes. Individuals will die. I mean, I don't understand our people. You have a natural drainage system. Sorry about that. You have a natural drainage system. Somebody goes abroad. He comes back with a bit of money. You don't even know how he got the money. He comes to buy a piece of land that forms part of the natural drainage system. He fills it up with sand and concrete. He builds a house on it, and you all start, having your property wrecked and your life even put in danger anytime it rains. And yet you sit down, do nothing about it. Watch that building standing there. Why don't you pull the building down?
Well.
Yes. You just have to do that, because if you don't do that, every year you incur this cost. You will not even be able to sell that house if you wish to sell it.
Yeah, of course. They don't think about
that. Who will buy that sort of house?
They
What's
don't
the point?
think about that. They don't think about that.
Have a good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
I know it's a Wednesday. Probably we're going to Parliament. If I'm not mistaken.
Okay. We are. Thank you very much. All right then. All right. Bye. Well, listeners, that has been Felix as well, adding his voice to the discussions this morning. But what do you think about all that? Well. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. We're taking you live to the Houses of Parliament for PMQ. Okay, stay tuned. Don't you go away.
To achieving net zero. Can my right honourable friend update the House as to his ambitions for biodiversity at the COP15 summit?
President. Mr. Speaker, we are working very closely on this issue, and we want to ensure that there is a new framework when it comes to biodiversity. She's absolutely right. COP26 had a big focus on reversing deforestation, supporting biodiversity, and we are continuing to press forward on that issue.
Before we start today's PMQs, I would like to remind members of the service which is being held at St Margaret's today at 1 o'clock to commemorate the 40th anniversary, the end of the Falklands War. I hope as many members as possible will be able to attend. I'd also like to point out that... Just a minute. I'd also like to point out, not this sign language, that the sign language interpretation of PMQ proceedings is available on Parliament Live TV. Now we start with questions to Prime Minister Mike Watt.
Question number 1, sir.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
My word.
Government support for households is greatly appreciated, but high energy costs are also causing massive problems for businesses, and particularly energy-intense manufacturing. Will the Prime Minister support the Repowering the Black Country initiative, backed by the LEP and by Andy Street, to reduce reliance on fossil fuels, and will he meet with me to look at how the Black Country can be a pilot project to decarbonise, reduce costs and protect the region's manufacturing jobs?
Well, I thank my honourable friend that he's a great champion for Dudley and for the Black Country, and in addition to the £1,200 for the 8 million most vulnerable households that we're providing, £400 to help everybody with the cost of energy, Mr. Speaker. We're supporting the Black Country with cost-efficient energy infrastructure, and the region has already received £1.5 million to develop a cluster plan for decarbonisation.
We now come to the Leader of the Opposition, Keir Starmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I pay tribute to all those who served in the Falklands? My uncle was among them, serving on the HMS Antelope when it went down. Thankfully, he made it back, but too many serving in that war didn't, and we remember them all. Mr. Speaker, Britain is set for lower growth than every major economy except Russia. Why?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, well, I'll tell him. Mr. Speaker, actually, we are going to have, according to the IMF and the OECD, we are, in addition to the fastest growth in the G7 last year, we're going to have the second fastest this year, and we will return to the top of the table, Mr. Speaker. But the reason, Mr. Speaker, other countries are temporarily moving ahead is, of course, because we came out of the pandemic faster than they did, because we took the right decisions to come out of lockdown, which he opposed, Mr. Speaker. And that's why, right now, Mr. Speaker, we have the highest number of people on payroll employment on record, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, he always likes to blame global forces, but global forces are just that, global. Everybody faces them. Britain isn't under crippling economic sanctions like Russia. No wonder he doesn't want to answer the question, why is the UK set for lower growth than every other major economy?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I think everybody can see that I've just answered the question. Once again, he's guilty of what my legal friends call ignoratio elenchi. He's failed to listen to what I've actually said, Mr. Speaker. What would be useful in supporting the UK economy right now would be if the leader of the Labour Party ended his sphinx-like silence about the RMT strikes coming up in the course of the next couple of weeks. Will he now break with his shadow Transport Secretary and denounce Labour's rail strikes?
He's in government.
Just to remind the Prime Minister, he seems to have gone. It's Prime Minister's question, it's not opposition question. Keir Starmer.
He's in government. He could do something to stop the strikes, but he hasn't lifted a finger. I don't want the strikes to go ahead, but he does. He wants, Mr. Speaker, he wants the country to grind to a halt so he can feed off the division. And as for, Mr. Speaker, as for his boasting about the economy, he thinks he can perform Jedi mind tricks on the country. These aren't the droids you're looking for. No rules were broken. The economy is booming. The problem is, the Force just isn't with him anymore. He thinks he's Obi-Wan Kenobi. The truth is, he's Jabba the Hutt. Last week, he stood there and boasted that we would continue to grow the economy. This week, it turns out, the economy shrank for the second month in a row. How does it help Britain to have an ostrich Prime Minister with his head in the sand?
Prime Minister. There he goes again, Mr. Speaker, running this country down when everybody we've got the highest payroll employment.
Look, I want to hear the questions and the answers, and whether you like it, but I genuinely believe it, the public who watch it also want to hear both. Prime Minister.
I mean, Mr. Speaker, we've got lower unemployment than France, Germany, Italy, Canada. We've got the highest number of people in payroll jobs, as I've just said, 620,000 more since records began. And he might like to know this, that just in the first 5 months of this year, this country has attracted, I think, £16 billion of investment in its tech sector. He doesn't like these European comparisons. Let's make it for him. 3 times as much as Germany, twice as much as France, Mr. Speaker. He should be talking this country up, not running it down.
That's the ostrich. He's not just denying how bad things are, he's actively making things worse. His 15 tax rises are throttling growth, and the director of the CBI is so fed up, he's reduced to saying, can we stop Operation Save Big Dog and move to action stations on the economy? Now, Mr. Speaker, we know what the Prime Minister says about British business in private. I think that's pretty unparliamentary. But when did screwing business turn from a flippant comment into economic policy?
Well, Mr. Speaker, look, I just reminded the House of what's happening in Tech Week in this country, the massive investment that's coming in, helped, by the way, by this 130% super deduction for business investment that my right honourable friend, the Chancellor, has put in. Never forget, Mr. Speaker, that Labour, under Labour, taxes go up on businesses and on people. We're not only putting £1,200 more into people's pockets, we're having a tax cut worth £330. He talks about taxes, £330 on average for everybody who pays national insurance. Labour have already made spending commitments in this Parliament alone worth £94 billion more than the government is spending. That's £2,100 for every household in the country, Mr. Speaker. No wonder no Labour government has ever left office with unemployment lower than when they came in.
Mr. Speaker, 15 tax rises, and we're sacked for the highest tax burden since rationing. He says the economy is booming when it's shrinking. He's game playing so much. He thinks he's on Love Island. Trouble is, Prime Minister, I'm reliably informed that contestants that give the public the ick get booted out. And it's not just low growth. He's also lost control of inflation. He was warned about this last September. And what did he do? He dismissed it. He didn't act. He sat on his hands. Now prices are through the roof, and we're set to have the highest inflation in the G7. When will he accept he got it badly wrong when he claimed that worries about inflation were unfounded?
Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, we're helping people with the cost of living with £1,200 on the 14th of July. The money will be going into people's bank accounts. Why can we do that, Mr. Speaker? Because we have the fiscal firepower to do it, because the economy is in robust shape, with record numbers of people in payroll employment, Mr. Speaker. And that is thanks to the steps that we took that he continuously opposed. And if he wants to, and I just remind Mr. Speaker, he has a chance. I won't say this interrogatively, Mr. He has the chance now to clear it up. He can oppose the Labour's rail strikes right now. Say he can disagree. He can disagree, and give him that opportunity. Let him disagree with the union barons who would add to people's costs in the coming weeks.
Mr. Speaker, I don't want the strikes to go ahead. He does so he can feed on the division. Mr. Speaker, they're making a lot of noise now, but I've got a long list here of what his MPs really think of him. Dragging everyone down. Who said that? Come on. Who was it said that? Authority is destroyed. Come on, hands up. Which of you was it? Which of you? Come on. Can't win back trust. Anybody owning up? You're very quiet now. Hands. Mr. Speaker, my personal favourite is this. This is a document circulated by his backbench. in which they call him the Conservative Corbyn.
Exactly.
Prime Minister, I don't think that was intended as a compliment. Week after week, he stands there and spouts the same nonsense. The economy's booming. Everything's going swimmingly. The people should be grateful. But whilst he's telling Britain that we never had it so good, millions of working people and businesses know the reality. Britain's growth is going to be slower than our competitors and our inflation higher. A Prime Minister who sounds totally deluded, totally failing on the economy, failing to tackle...
I think we need to get to the end of the question, but I'll just remind you, I will hear the end of the question in silence. Any more noise in this corner, there'll be another cup of tea early if we're not careful. Yes,
a Prime Minister who sounds totally deluded, totally failing the economy, failing to tackle inflation, failing to back business, failing to help working people through the crisis. And, Mr. Speaker, his big idea, go back to imperial measurements. He's got 80s inflation, 70s stagnation, now he wants 60s wage to complete the set. When is he going to ditch the gimmicks and face up to reality that under him Britain's economy is going backwards?
Let's see the Prime Minister. Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, a couple of quick points about Mr. Corbyn, the Right Honourable Member for Islington North. First of all, he tried repeatedly to get him elected as Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker. Secondly, speaking from experience, he's relatively dynamic by comparison with the Right Honourable Gentleman, Mr. Speaker. Dynamic and coherent.
Might be helpful if you speak to me. I'm struggling to hear because of the noise on both sides. So please, if you look to the chair, it'll be easier for both of us.
But what we're going to get on and do, Mr. Speaker, is continue to take the tough decisions to take this country forward, and decisions that are on the side of the British people, Mr. Speaker. They're blatantly on the side of the RMT union barons. When there are some ticket offices that barely sell one ticket per hour, Mr. Speaker, we are on the side of the travelling public. By the way, he hasn't mentioned this, but they're on the side of the people traffickers who would risk people's lives at sea, Mr. Speaker. And we are on the side of people who come here safely and legally. Safely and legally, Mr. Speaker. They carp and snipe from the sidelines. That's what they've always done. We take the big decisions to take this country forward. And no matter how much welly his right honourable friend, the deputy leader, may ask him to apply, it doesn't matter how much welly he pretends to apply, when that welly, Mr. Speaker, is always on the left foot.
Many areas like mine have already had massive new housing development with no commensurate increase in general practice.
Sorry. Point of order. The Honourable Lady's been here for so long, she should also know that points of order can only come at the end. Sandra Sullivan.
Oh dear. Many areas.
Have a conversation later, but certainly it's not. Andrew Sullivan.
Many areas like mine have already had massive new housing development with no commensurate increase in general practice capacity. In one of my surgeries, with double the recommended number of patients per GP, a bowel cancer diagnosis of a 51-year-old father of 4 was missed and is now terminal. Getting this right is a life and death issue. So will the Prime Minister make sure that parts of the country that have already had massive new housing growth get the commensurate increase in general practice capacity that is only right and fair?
Prime Minister.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, and of course we've increased the numbers of doctors by 6,000, up to 1,200 more GPs since this time last year, 11,800 more nurses, but we must make sure that areas, particularly where areas of new sensitive development is going in, that there are the infrastructure services, particularly medical services, that they need. The NHS has a statutory duty to take account of population growth. I know he's met my honourable friend, the Health Secretary. I will take it up personally to make sure we get a proper approach to, I think, a very, very important issue.
Ian Blackford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I join you and others that are remembering today the Falklands conflict of 40 years ago, and those like my colleague Keith Brown, the Scottish Justice Minister, that served there, and in particular our thoughts are with those that paid the ultimate sacrifice. Mr. Speaker, yesterday our First Minister started a national conversation on Scotland's right to choose an independent future. When we look at nations like Iceland, Ireland, Norway and Denmark, it is clear that our neighbours are outperforming the United Kingdom. They deliver greater income equality, lower poverty rates, higher productivity, social mobility and business investment. Mr. Speaker, the list goes on and on. The evidence is overwhelming. Scotland is being held back by Westminster. Prime Minister, all those countries can use the powers of independence to create wealthier, fairer and greener societies. Why not Scotland?
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I don't doubt my right honourable friend's talents as a conversationalist, but I think there are other subjects in the national conversation right now, and they include, Mr. Speaker, what we're doing to come through the aftershocks of COVID with the strongest jobs-led recovery of any European economy. As I said, 620,000 more people across the whole of the UK, Mr. Speaker, in payroll employment than there were before the pandemic began. And I think another subject of national conversation is investment into our whole country, investment in Scotland, investment across the whole of the UK, as I mentioned already, in the tech centre. And the whole of the UK standing strong together on the international stage and sticking up for the Ukrainians. I think that's some of the things that the country is also talking about, Mr. Speaker.
Prime Minister.
Stronger together. As the Prime Minister seen the pound, I think the financial markets are giving their judgment on this Prime Minister. You know, Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister can afford to live in his own little world, his own little Britain. But people have to live with the reality of a failing Westminster system. A cost of living crisis worse in the UK than any other G7 country. An inflation rate double that of France. The second worst economic growth forecast in the G20, next to only sanctioned Russia. And now, a threat of a trade war with our European friends, triggered by a law-breaking Prime Minister. That is not a vision for the future of Scotland. Our nation is big enough, rich enough and smart enough. Isn't it the case, Prime Minister, that Scotland simply can't afford to remain trapped in the failing Westminster system? Mr. Speaker, stop the world. Scotland wants to get on.
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I think that the figures speak for themselves. The UK has record numbers of people in payroll employment. That's an astounding thing when you consider where we were during the pandemic. That was because of the UK working well together, as he will remember, with the vaccine rollout, with the testing, which Scotland and the rest of the country cooperated brilliantly. And, Mr. Speaker, he talks about a trade war. He talks about a trade war. What could be more foolish, Mr. Speaker, than a project that actually envisages trade barriers within parts of the United Kingdom? That's what we're trying to break down.
Craig Tracy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. During the Jubilee celebrations, I was honoured to share part of them with Cohort 4, an inspirational mentoring and support group who provide life-changing support to a wide range of women, such as those who've tragically been the victim of domestic violence, sexual abuse or suffer from mental health difficulties. Sadly, as a result of the pandemic, the need for these services has only grown. So would the Prime Minister join me in thanking Beverly and her team for the incredible work that they do at Cohort 4 and set out what more government can do to support these organisations so they can continue to deliver the vital care to vulnerable men and women across all of our constituencies.
I thank my honourable friend. I want to extend my thanks also to Beverley and everybody in Cohort 4 for what they're doing. The extra support that we're giving includes £140 million of funding for victims' services and 47 million ring fence, particularly for organisations such as Cohort 4. Thank you to Cohort 4 and similar organisations for everything that they do.
David.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I join the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition in paying tribute to our armed forces and sending our thanks and gratitude to the veterans of the Falklands War and their families? Mr. Speaker, millions of families across our country are suffering because of the cost of living emergency. And people in rural areas are especially hurting, bearing the brunt of record fuel price rises. The Rural Fuel Duty Relief Scheme is supposed to help by taking money off the price of petrol. But some rural counties aren't eligible, like Cumbria, like Shropshire, and like Devon. Mr. Speaker, the Conservative Party is want to hear ideas to help those people, and I think the people of Devon will note. Because there are families and pensioners across rural counties who are missing out on this support. So, Mr. Speaker, as petrol prices soar, will the Prime Minister accept our idea to help people in rural counties and expand rural fuel duty relief?
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we cut fuel duty for everybody across the country by record sums. He talks about pensioners, Mr. Speaker. We're giving £850 more to every pensioner across the country. And he talks about the cost of energy. Everybody is going to get another £400 to help them with the costs of energy. And the blissful fact about the Liberal Democrats, Mr. Speaker, is people don't actually know what their policies are. And they're able to go around the country. They're able to go around the country bamboozling the rural communities, not revealing that they're in fact in favour of massive new green taxes, Mr. Speaker, which is what they want, and not revealing that they would like to go back straight away into the common agricultural policy with all the bureaucracy and all the costs that entails. They don't say that on the doorstep, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. There are proposals for up to 10,000 housing units on flood-prone greenfield sites to the west of Ifield in my constituency that would also represent intolerable pressure on local services. Can I have an assurance from the Prime Minister that as we update planning legislation, we will enshrine the brownfield principle first for new developments and save our environment and our services?
Prime Minister.
My honourable friend is completely right, and we encourage the use of suitable brownfield land, and our policy is for brownfield first, everywhere and always.
Neil Hanby.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And the Prime Minister will know from my recent correspondence that my Kirkcaldy and Cowdenbeath constituent, Ruth Zuccarello, is the sister of Jim Fitton, who is currently imprisoned in Iraq and sentenced to 15 years for collecting some shards of pottery. The judge passing sentence did not believe that Mr. Fitton had any criminal intent. And this has obvious and significant implications for Jim and his loved ones. So I would ask the Prime Minister if he would be willing to meet with me and other MPs who have constituents in Jim's family to discuss this case so that we can work in concert to resolve some of those issues.
Well, I'm really grateful to the Honourable Gentleman for raising Mr. Fitton's case, and I have a great deal of sympathy, I must say, with him. I'll make sure that he gets the right Honourable Gentleman gets a meeting with the relevant minister as soon as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. One of my youngest constituents, little Nellie Oakshott, is 2 years old and has been diagnosed with metachromatic leukodystrophy. Her very brave parents, Megan and Tom, are supporting a campaign to see MLD added to the newborn blood spot test. Had that been included in the test, Nellie's condition could be treated. Now, the family are squaring up to palliative care, and planning to make every day count. Will the Prime Minister give his support to add MLD to this heel prick test so that families in the future can be spared this same heartbreak?
I thank her very much, and I know that the thoughts of everybody will be with Nellie and her parents, Tom and Megan, in a very, very difficult time. And what I can tell her is that the National Screening Committee has received a request to look again at the conditions for doing an MLD test, and that is currently being reviewed right now. But I will make sure that she gets a meeting as soon as possible with the relevant minister.
List West.
Mr. Speaker, in just 5 days, rail passengers across the UK and in the North East will be facing huge disruption. Do you want to listen? But on the eve of the biggest rail dispute in a generation, it's emerged that ministers have not held any talks whatsoever since March. So, Mr. Speaker, I ask the Prime Minister.
You've done out.
I ask the Prime Minister, has he met with trade unions and employers in the rail industry to attempt to bring this dispute to an end? Yes or no?
Mr. Speaker, I noticed that what one union baron was asked about this. He said, "I don't negotiate with the Tory government," is what he said. That's what they said, Mr. Speaker. We all know how much money the Labour front bench take from the RMT, Mr. Speaker. We know why they're sitting on their hands during Labour's rail strikes. They should come out and condemn it, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today is Pension Credit Awareness Day. Pension credit is currently underclaimed. Around a quarter of those entitled don't claim it. So all my right honourable friend join me in encouraging people in Gedling and throughout the country to check their eligibility, make that claim so we can get more money into the pockets of pensioners.
Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, it's a very, very worthwhile and important campaign that my honourable friend supports. Too many pensioners fail to take up their entitlements under pension credit. It can be worth another £3,300 a year, and the more we can do to make pensioners aware of it, the better.
Anna McMahon.
Thank you. Why is it that the worst people often rise to the highest office and stay there? Not my words about the Prime Minister, but those of his newest appointment, his cost of living czar. Families across Cardiff North, crippled with skyrocketing bills, unable to afford even the most basic necessities, all agree with him, saying this Prime Minister has to go. So if his own czar doesn't even have faith in him, tell me why those struggling should.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, she's asked that question repeatedly, but let me just remind her that this is a government that gets on and delivers on our promises to the people, and in particular getting Brexit done. I read the other day, Mr. Speaker, that she wants to go back into the single market and into the customs union. I think if that's the real policy of the Labour Party, Mr. Speaker, going back into the EU, then why won't the leader of the opposition admit it?
Edward Timpson. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. When our family adopted my two brothers in the 1980s, support for adopters, whether that be financial, therapeutic or professional, was minimal. And by the time I became a family law barrister in the late 1990s, it really wasn't much better. Efforts since, particularly the Adoption Support Fund from 2015 onwards, has improved the situation, but as ever, there's much more that we can do. And to that end, would my right honourable friend look at making self-employed adopters eligible for statutory adoption pay so they can also have a better and fairer start to family life?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I thank my honourable friend, and he's a great champion for adopters and all those who help give children a loving and stable home. we've so far focused on supporting, he's quite right, we're focused on supporting employed parents, but local authorities do have the power to provide discretionary payments equivalent to maternity allowance for self-employed adopters as well.
Gary McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We know that at times of economic hardship, suicide rates are likely to rise too. We saw that after the 2008 crash. So as well as doing more to support people through the cost of living crisis, will the Prime Minister commit to doing more to support excellent suicide prevention campaigns like CALM, the campaign against living miserably, and also implement Labour's pledge that anyone in need of it should be able to access mental health counselling within a month, an end to waiting lists?
Prime Minister.
She's entirely right, Mr. Speaker, and we must focus ever more on mental health. That's why we're putting another £2.3 billion into supporting mental health services, including suicide prevention and the many wonderful charities that help people with their conditions, Mr. Speaker. And you know, all I can say is it would be a good thing if across the floor of this House we had support for the spending that we're putting in.
David Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The conflict in Ukraine and the consequent disruption of the supply chain in wheat has highlighted the need for the United Kingdom to become more self-sufficient in food. The Genetic Technology Bill, which has its second reading this afternoon, will help create the conditions to enable English farmers to produce more food of higher quality. But does my right honourable friend agree that the drive to self-sufficiency requires a UK-wide effort? And will he urge the devolved administrations to adopt the provisions of the bill so that farmers across Britain can produce the food that the country needs?
Prime Minister.
My honourable friend is completely right that currently the policy, of course, the bill only applies to England. He's completely right, but in a loving and sharing way, we are going to work with the devolved administrations, Mr. Speaker, so that the whole of the UK can enjoy the benefits.
Sorry, Champion.
Mental health support is vital for victims of sexual crimes. When a Rotherham survivor, who's here today, reported her childhood abuse to the police, they told her not to go for counselling as it could be used against her in court. Your Attorney General is challenging the rules, so it's even easier for defence teams to access victims' counselling notes, having an immediate chilling effect. Survivors shouldn't be forced to choose between their mental health and justice. Prime Minister, please stop this.
Well, I'm very interested to hear what she says, and I will look at the evidence that she has. But these are very sensitive and very difficult issues, particularly as regards the defence cases. But if she looks at what's happening, for instance, on rape and serious sexual offences, where we've had very similar problems, we are starting to see gradually an improvement in the prosecution rates, and that is because governments across departments across Whitehall working together to take account of victims' needs. And I agree that progress isn't everything that I would like, but we are seeing progress.
My right honourable friend may be aware that the Shrewsbury and Telford Hospital Trust has recently submitted a revised outline business case in support of its £312 million capital allocation made by the Department of Health 4 years ago. Does he agree with me that in order to make progress and complete the ambitious hospital building programme, the NHS decision-making processes not only need to be levelled up, they need to be speeded up?
Prime Minister.
I think, Mr. Speaker, that the right honourable gentleman certainly speaks for many in this House in wanting faster decisions on planning in the NHS. But what you also, and that's what we're doing, we're pushing through, as he knows, 40 hospitals 40 hospitals we are building, Mr. Speaker, and what that needs is the funding. And I just tactfully point out again, the opposition benches bellowing away. They voted against the extra £39 billion that we're putting in.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My constituent, Mr. Singh's identity has been stolen. His NHS records are being misused, but he's been advised there is nothing the Health Secretary can do. Crimes are being committed in his name. The Home Secretary's department assured him that this would not affect his immigration status. Yet recently, He, his wife and children were detained by UK Border Force whilst travelling for a family holiday. Can the Prime Minister explain who in his government is responsible for this chaotic incompetence?
Mr. Speaker, I'd be only too happy to look at the. I'm very sorry for the experience that Mr. Singh and his family have had. And I ask you who's responsible. I'm responsible, Mr. Speaker, and I take. But I will look at the case. I'll make sure that she gets a proper answer from the Home Office and the Immigration Department.
Theresa May.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My constituent, Dominique Davis, is the niece of Dom Phillips, the British journalist missing in Brazil, alongside the Indigenous expert Bruno Pereira. Will my right honourable friend ensure that the government makes this case a diplomatic priority and that it works to do everything it can to ensure that the Brazilian authorities put the resources necessary to uncover the truth and find out what has happened to Dom and Bruno?
I thank my right honourable friend very much, and I can tell her that for representing the niece of Dom Phillips, and of course, like everybody in this House, we're deeply concerned about what may have happened to him. FCDO officials are working closely now with the Brazilian authorities following his disappearance on the 5th of June. The minister responsible has raised the issue repeatedly, the search and rescue effort with Brazil's Justice and Public Security Minister, and what we've told the Brazilians, Mr. Speaker, is we stand ready to provide, Madam Deputy Speaker, I should say, we stand ready to provide all the support that they may need.
Thank you. Point of order, Elaine Saxby.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I just wondered if you could advise how I could correct the record for the Right Honourable Member for Kingston and Surbiton's question, where he raised the matter of rural fuel duty relief and incorrectly advised that it was not available in Devon, and that in my North Devon constituency, that I clearly know quite well on this side of the House, the EX35 postcode of Linton, their fuel retailers have had access to this duty for some time. How might we address this situation, Madam Deputy?
Well, order. I thank the honourable lady for her point of order. The chair is not responsible for points made by honourable and right honourable members, but she has put her concerns on the record, so I suggest we leave it at that. Vote to that point of order, Sir Edward Davey.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Can I thank the honourable lady for raising the point, not directly, I think, pointing out that vast parts of Devon don't have rural fuel duty relief.
Yeah, I think this is becoming a continuation of Prime Minister's question, so we will leave it at that. Point of order, Yasmin Qureshi.
Yes, Madam Deputy Speaker. In the Prime Minister's questions, the Prime Minister said that the Leader of the Opposition was a supporter of people traffickers. I think that should be taken out of record.
It's a disgrace.
Well, I thank the honourable lady for her point of order. Frankly, the level of noise during PMQs meant it was not possible for the chair to hear everything. But I understand that the Prime Minister, as she says, did say that the opposition was on the side of people traffickers. That seems to me, and I have to say to the Speaker, to fall well short of the good temper and moderation which should characterise our debates. And I say to the Prime Minister and to all members here, we need to refer to each other in this place in more respectful terms. And I'm sure that that spirit will be adopted in the statement to come. Point of order.
Madam Deputy Speaker, as Chair of the International Trade Committee, it's with dismay of the committee that we found out that the government was to trigger the CRAG process on the Australia-UK FTA before the scrutiny was finished. This, in light of assurances to the Speaker of the House in a letter, assurances on the floor of the House on the 17th of November 2021 at the dispatch book from a Minister of the DIT, and also to the committee itself, that that scrutiny would be allowed to happen before Crag was triggered. This has not happened. What is happening is the UK is opening and rolling out the red carpet to Australian exporters to the UK, while Australia is not ratifying. Madam Deputy Speaker, we in the committee feel there should be a vote, at the very least, to delay Crag. Can you advise us how best we can achieve that end?
Well, I thank the honourable gentleman for his point of order. It has not related directly to PMQs, so it should actually have been taken later. But he has, obviously, ministers should stick to commitments that they have made, and I'm sure he will find a number of ways in order to further the points that he has made. Thank you. Statement, Home Secretary Priti Patel.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. And with permission, I would like to make a statement about the government's world-leading migration and economic development partnership with Rwanda. The British people have repeatedly voted for controlled immigration and the right to secure borders, Madam Deputy Speaker. This is a government that acts and hears that message clearly, and we are determined to deliver that. Last night, Madam Deputy Speaker, we aim to relocate the first people from our country who arrived here through dangerous and illegal means, including by small boat. Over the course of this week, many and various claims to prevent relocation have been brought forward. Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, I welcome the decisions of our domestic courts, the High Court, the Court of Appeal and Supreme Court to uphold our right to send the flight. However, following a decision by an out-of-hours judge in the European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg, minutes before our flight's departure, the final individuals remaining on the flight had their removal directions paused while their claims were considered. I want to make something absolutely clear today, Madam Deputy Speaker. The European Court of Human Rights did not rule that the policy or relocations were unlawful, but they prohibited the removal of 3 of those on last night's flight. Those prohibitions last for different time periods, but are not an absolute bar on their transfer to Rwanda. Anyone who's been ordered to be released by the courts will be tagged while we continue to progress their relocation. While this decision by the Strasbourg Court to intervene was disappointing and surprising given the repeated and considered judgments to the contrary in our domestic courts, we remain committed to this policy. These repeated legal barriers are, Madam Deputy Speaker, very similar to those that we experience with all other removal flights, and we believe that we are fully compliant with our domestic and international obligations, and preparations for our future flights and the next flights have already begun. Our domestic courts were of the view that the flight could go ahead. Madam Deputy Speaker, the case for our partnership with Rwanda bears repeating. We are a generous and welcoming country, as has been shown time and time again. Over 20,000 people have used safe and legal routes to come to the UK since 2015. And most recently, Madam Deputy Speaker, Britons have opened their hearts and their homes to Afghan nationals and Ukrainian nationals. But our capacity to help those in need is severely compromised by those who come here illegally. And as we've discussed in this House many, many times, who seek to jump the queue because they can afford to pay the people smugglers. It is illegal. It is not necessary because they are coming from other safe countries. It is not fair either on those who play by the rules or on the British taxpayers who have to foot this bill. We cannot keep on spending nearly £5 million a day on accommodation, including that of hotels. We cannot accept this intolerable pressure on public services and local communities. It makes us less safe as a nation because those who come here illegally do not have the regularised checks or even the regularised status. And because evil people smuggling gangs use the proceeds of their ill-gotten gains to fund other appalling crimes that undermine the security of our country. It is also lethally dangerous for those who are smuggled. People have drowned at sea, suffocated in lorries, and perished crossing territories. The humane, decent and moral response to all of this is simply not to stand by and let people down, or to be sold into slavery, or to be smuggled, but to stop this. And with that, Madam Deputy Speaker, inaction is not an option, or at least not a morally responsible one. This is, as I've said repeatedly, a complex, long-standing problem. The global asylum system is broken, and between 80 to 100 million people are now displaced, and others are on the move, seeking better economic opportunities. And an international problem requires international solutions. The UK and Rwanda have shown the way forward by working together. And this partnership sends a clear message that illegal entry will not be tolerated, Madam Deputy Speaker, while offering a practical, humane way forward for those who arrive to the UK via illegal routes. It has saddened me, Madam Deputy Speaker, to see Rwanda so terribly misrepresented and traduced in recent weeks. It is another example of how all too often critics not only don't know what they're speaking about, but seek to vilify another international country that has a good track record when it comes to refugees and stepping up to international responsibilities. Rwanda, Madam Deputy Speaker, is a safe and secure country with an outstanding track record of supporting refugees and asylum seekers. And indeed, we are proud that we are working together, proud that the UK is investing in Rwanda and helping that great country to thrive, and proud that those who are relocated to Rwanda will have an opportunity to thrive as well. They will be given generous support, including language skills, vocational training, and help with starting their own businesses or finding employment. But of course, I'm afraid, Madam Deputy Speaker, the usual suspects, with the blessings of honourable and right honourable members opposite, have set out the thought and even campaign against these efforts, and with that, Madam Deputy Speaker, the will of the British people. It would be wrong to issue a running commentary over ongoing cases, but Madam Deputy Speaker, I would like to say this. This government will not be deterred from doing the right thing. We will not be put off by the inevitable legal last-minute challenges, nor we will allow mobs, Madam Deputy Speaker, to block removals. We will not stand idly by and let organised crime gangs, who are despicable in their nature and their conduct, evil people, treat human beings as cargo. We will not accept that we have no right to control our borders, Madam Deputy Speaker. We will do everything necessary to keep this country safe, and we will continue our long and proud tradition of helping those in genuine need. Now, many of us have met refugees, both abroad and on British soil, and listened to the stories that are quite frankly chilling and heartbreaking. But of course it suits the benches opposite to pretend that this side of the House doesn't care. But Madam Deputy Speaker, as you referred to in the earlier point of order, on this side of the House, such accusations are a grotesque slur. And let me tell you, Madam Deputy Speaker, what is truly chilling is listening to opponents going on about how awful this policy is, while offering no practical solutions, while lives are being lost, helping develop safe and legal routes to this country for those who really need them is absolutely at the heart of this government's work. And having overseen efforts to bring to the UK thousands of people in absolute need, including from Hong Kong, Syria, Afghanistan and Ukraine. And I am the first to say that controlled immigration is good for our country, outstanding for our country, including that by refugees. But, Madam Deputy Speaker, we simply have to focus on the support of those who need it the most, and not those who have picked the UK as a destination over a safe country like France. And it is no use pretending that they are fleeing persecution when they are travelling from a safe country, because our capacity to help is not infinite, and public support for the asylum system will be fatally undermined if we do not act. And along with the critics of the Migration and Economic Development Partnership have no alternative proposal to deal with uncontrolled immigration. And like on so many other issues, the parties opposite, the Labour Party and the SNP, are on the wrong side of the argument, and we will only see with their arguments public trust in the system being corroded. That is irresponsible and utterly indifferent to those who we seek to help and support. Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, I have always said that I will look at all proposals to reduce illegal migration and illegal entry to our country, and even those that the opposite benches might prepare to put forward, but we still wait for them. However, well, he says that. However, fundamentally, they don't think there is a problem. And that is why they don't have a solution, because they still remain and stand for open borders, pure and simple. Meanwhile, this government wants to get on with delivering, not just on what the British people want, but reforming our systems, so yes, so that they are firm, but equally, Madam Deputy Speaker, so that they are fair to those who pay for them and fair on those who need our help and support.
Shadow Home Secretary Yvette Cooper.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. This is a shambles, and it is shameful, and the Home Secretary has no one but herself to blame. This is not, and never has been, a serious policy, and she knew that when she chartered the plane. She knew that among the people she was planning to send to Rwanda on this plane were torture and trafficking victims. She knew she didn't have a proper screening process in place. She knew that some of them might be children. So can she confirm it was the Home Office itself that withdrew a whole series of these cases on Friday and yesterday because they knew there was a problem with these cases, that even without the European Court of Human Rights judgment, she was planning to send a plane with just 7 people on board because she'd had to withdraw most of the cases at the last minute. She knows that there is a lack of proper asylum capacity in Rwanda to make fair decisions, that, as the UNHCR says, they only normally deal with a few hundred cases a year. There's normally only one eligibility officer who prepares the cases, and that's as well as the lack of interpreters or legal advice to ensure fair decisions. Now, she promised there will be extra payments to Rwanda for each person that is transferred, presumably to pay for those extra caseworkers or extra support, but she still refused to tell us how much. So what is she hiding? Will she tell us now how much she promised Rwanda for each of the people she was planning to send yesterday, and how many Rwandan refugees she promised to take in return? She knows that serious concerns have been raised about Rwandan restrictions on political freedom, on the treatment of people who are LGBT, on the fact that 12 refugees were shot by the authorities in 2018 for protesting against food cuts, on the fact that there have been Afghan and Syrian asylum seekers returned by Rwanda, and she knows that none of those concerns have been addressed. She knows too that the policy will not work. We need action to tackle dangerous criminal gangs who are putting lives at risk. But she knows that her policies won't achieve that, and that is not their objective. Because if it was, she would not have asked the National Crime Agency, whose job it is to target the criminal gangs, to draw up 20% staff cuts. That is potentially 1,000 people being cut from the organisation that works to tackle the gangs. So can she confirm, has she asked the NCA to draw up plans for staff cuts? If she was serious, she would be taking seriously the fact that the Israel-Rwanda deal ended up increasing criminal people trafficking and smuggling, and that her plan risks making things worse. And if it was, she would be working night and day to get a better joint plan with France to crack down on the gangs and to stop the boats being put into the water in the first place. But she isn't, because her relationship with French ministers has totally broken down. If she was serious about tackling illegal migration, illegal economic migration, or cutting the bills for people in hotels, she would be speeding up Home Office decision-making so refugees can get support and those who aren't can be returned home. Instead, her decisions have totally collapsed from 28,000 a year to just 14,000 decisions a year, fewer than Belgium, the Netherlands, never mind Germany or France. And she's so badly failing to take those basic decisions, she is trying to pay a country thousands of miles away to take decisions for us instead. How shameful does that make us look around the world if our Home Office cannot take those basic decisions? She knew about problem after problem with her policy. She knows this is unworkable, unethical, and won't stop the criminal gangs. But yet, she still went ahead and spent £500,000 chartering a plane she never expected to fly. She still went ahead and wrote a £120 million cheque to Rwanda with a promise of more to come. And she still went ahead because all she really cares about is picking fights and finding someone else to blame. This isn't a long-term plan, it is a short-term stunt. Everyone can see it. It's not serious policy, it's shameless posturing, and she knows it. It's not building consensus, it's just pursuing division. It is government by gimmick. It's not in the public interest, it's just in their political interest. And what are they prepared to trash along the way? People's lives, our basic British values of fairness, decency and common sense, and the reputation of our nation. Our country is better than this. We've a long tradition of hard work and stepping up to tackle problems, not to offload them, to tackle the criminal gangs who put lives at risk, and to do right by refugees. That is what she should be doing now, and not this shambles that is putting our country to shame.
Madam Deputy Speaker, well, I always look forward to these exchanges in the House, it's fair to say. Primarily because, well, perhaps if you'd like to listen to them as well. Let me just respond by saying, as a point of education, if I may, for the Honourable Lady opposite, we're not the only country in the world to be adopting this approach, it's fair to say. The Right Honourable Lady may be aware, Madam Deputy Speaker, that it's an approach the EU have adopted through their EU transfer mechanism to Rwanda. And Denmark themselves are in the process, already in the process of looking at this. But she raises a number of points which are also factually incorrect. I'll come to you shortly, if you don't mind. That the purpose of the work that we are doing is absolutely, Madam Deputy Speaker, to break the business model of the people smugglers. And it's a shame, actually, that the party opposite, run down the National Crime Agency, because actually, again, calm down a second, because actually it's the UK intelligence community that are working together, tackling the people smugglers upstream, along with the way in which we invest in upstream programmes to tackle the people smugglers. But, Madam Deputy Speaker, I've got more to say on this, of course, because the members opposite keep speaking about asylum seekers that have travelled from Iran, Iraq and other countries. But, of course, they've come from France, Madam Deputy Speaker, a safe country. They haven't come from Iraq, they've come from France. In the same way the lady opposite says they've come from Syria. They've come from France. They've paid people smugglers. And they don't claim that it's immoral to send people back to European countries where their claims can be considered there. It is literally, Madam Deputy Speaker, the logic of the opposition seems to be that Rwanda is a wonderful country, good enough to host international summits and world dignitaries, but not for people to be relocated there, as our global partnership has demonstrated. And they know that people are dying in the Channel, but they simply do not have a single workable solution between them. And they are choosing sides here, while this government is committed to pioneering a way forward. And of course, the party opposite are now clutching at straws when they come to speaking about money. But of course, you cannot put a price on lives that are lost, and we believe in saving lives and breaking the people smuggling model. And of course, Madam Deputy Speaker, when it comes to the claims, the legal claims that I think the Honourable Lady was referring to, pre-action protocol, NRM claims, I do not remember the lady opposite, the Shadow Home Secretary, making these points in this sort of synthetic hypothetical rage when she occupied the seat in a previous Labour government where they brought in acts and powers and passed the 1999 Act, the 2002 Act, the 2004 Act, basically to remove people with no legal basis to be in this country. And these are the same powers that we are using to remove individuals with no legal right to be in these countries. And of course, these are exactly the same powers that only recently and again today she was saying that could be used if we hadn't left the EU. And yet again, the Honourable Lady, the party opposite, talks about the policy being unworkable and extortionate, but it can't be both, because clearly we've said from the outset, that this is a partnership based on working with Rwanda. And if I may, Madam Deputy Speaker, there is nothing more humane than turning a blind eye to those that are being smuggled, not just across the Channel, but also in lorries. And we have a global collective responsibility to work with international partners, which clearly the